Yeah, yeah, yeah. 2-3. Solo D. DWA, we gonna do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 2-3. Solo D. DWA, we gonna do it like this. Look. Get back to the season, yeah, it's time for 2-3. Miami sports been on fire, kicking ass like Bruce Lee. Tua hit the weight room and got his tribe on his sleeve. Got some goals on his list that he gotta achieve. Matt D with the schemes, he supplying the dream. Rolling Vic for defense, we bout to hunt for the ring. Buffet boys hit squad, we ain't thinking about Rodgers. Only Hall of Famer we acknowledge this year's Thomas.
What an unreal play by Zach Thomas.
Legendary at the crib, what we do is historic. Ain't won a ring in 50 years, but not one season been born. We been steady building up, they been sleeping and snoring. We been repping for that aqua, plus that green and the orange. 305 South Florida, we the reason it's storming. Since we picked up Tyreek, why should our speed been important? Waddle patch, they gon' dance like a penguin when scoring. Running backs, run it back, old line don't want no sack. They reload in beast mode. To protect the quarterback, CBS recorded that, then the world syndicated. Put the league on notice, now they all intimidated. Took some L's from injuries, but now them boys rejuvenated. When they lining up against you, running through you, you gon' hate it. All the fans gon' debate it, compare and contrast. The same conversation on a different podcast. I'm a Dolphin fan for life. I'm a Dolphin fan for life. I'm a Dolphin fan for life. I'm a Dolphin for life. I'm a Dolphin for life. Who that? So low, so low, so low, deep. So low, so low, so low, deep. DWA, that's Dolphins with attitude. MSM, that's Miami Sports Music. Make sure you subscribe.
This is a Miami Sports Music Podcast Network production. This is the #1 Miami fan morning show. Clock Blockers, let's go.
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Be the smooth, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter college. Whole squad been trained to go. Vince for life, we throw the folk. Singing this shit.
What's up, baby?
To a time. Time to grab, time to shine.
What is going on? It is Clock Blockers, the #1 Miami fan morning show, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Good morning to my family with a PH and my Finlaws. What is going on? This is the best morning show out there. Hit the like button, share, let people know that we're here. I'm going to tell you that again here in a minute. Share the link. Hit share from YouTube. Go share. Go post it on your IG. Go post it on your Twitter. We're live, baby. You guys can follow me everywhere at Stephen D. SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. You can also follow Miami Sports Music everywhere at Miami Sports Music, except on Twitter where we are at MIA Sports Music. Want to remind y'all, too, hit the like button. No, I'm serious. Hit the like button. Make sure you hit it. And subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure y'all do that. Hit the bell notification when you do it, too. Okay? Make sure y'all do that. What is going on this morning, man? Super excited to be hanging out with y'all. If y'all want to sign up to become a member today, there are plenty of seats waiting at the table for you. If you look in the description below, you will see membership. And the great thing about that is there are plenty of seats waiting for you to sign up to become part of the family. That's right. Can we get 2 new members to the channel today? I would love to see it. If you're already a member of the channel, let the people know who aren't a member of the channel, that aren't a member of the family, why they should be, how important it is to help the channel grow in the chat right now. The chat is where it's at. Okay. It's awesome. All right. So make sure y'all do that. Also, hey, look, if you want to help the channel grow by donating, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can use the YouTube Live Super Chat, which is the $ below the bottom of the chat. Or you can also use Cash App or PayPal, which is $ MSM Podcast Network, or use the QR code that's right on your screen, or MSM Podcast Network, or use the QR code that's right on your screen. Want to give a big shout out to our sponsors of the show. ZSM Sports, Less is More Events, Lime Tickets, and Tailgreeter. Download the app today. All right, I had to go through that a little bit because we're on a time crunch today. I want to make sure we get every possible second that we can get in. It is Hot Take Tuesday. And that means I usually have a co-host, and I'm going to go ahead and drop a little bit of love here for my co-host. He is one of the best guys in the world. He's one of the hottest DJs in South Florida. He is the DJ of the greatest hockey team in South Florida. I'm talking about the Florida Panthers, and he also does a lot of other things throughout South Florida that is top-notch, above the rest. He can't be competed with. All right. Look, no offense to the other DJs out there. They ain't got nothing on my boy, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. DJ Genesis. What up, baby? You're on mute. You're on mute. You just hit the mute button.
Oh, there it goes. Hey.
Well, I didn't hear what you said, but I'm sure it was good. I'm sure it was great.
Good. I came on, man. I had to rock on my Sean Taylor vibes. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to 26 and the best.
Shout out to Sean Taylor. I like it.
I got shout out. I had to show on the ST, little South Florida energy. You know, he's from South Florida. You know, where we grew up together. So I had to bring that energy today, man. Just to say, I know.
Shout out. I love the Sean Taylor jersey,
you know
man.
You know, you always got the Dolphins vibe, so I'm gonna bring a little the other energy, a little bit of heat, a little bit of hurricanes. You know.
Well, it's kind of funny because I hit up Alex Dono this morning, who does Locked On Hurricanes, and he also co-hosts on the pregame show for WQAM, or at least he did. I still think he's going to be doing stuff for them this year. But I hit up I hit up Alex Dono, and I told him that you were on this morning. He's like, dude, I'm going to Hurricanes open practice today. I gotta go. So I was trying to get him on to come in later on this morning, but we're gonna get him on next week. But man, Hurricanes, college football's here, baby. I'm excited.
College football's here, man. I know we rock with the Dolphins and stuff, but you know, Hurricanes is right there. That we talk about them as they going into their second year of the Mario Cristobal era.
Yeah, well, I just love college football in general. Shout out to the Beer Court guy.
Yes, sir.
$2 donation. Peace, love, and prosperity. I like it, man. Peace, love, and prosperity. I feel like I should hold up the Star Trek sign with that too, but you know, look, man, I'm just saying that's what it felt like there. Man, there's a lot to get into this morning. I want to get into all of it. But you see, I'm rocking this Hall of Fame hat because I went up to Canton. I went for the Zach Thomas induction.
Okay.
It was dope. I don't know if I got a chance to tell you that yet, but it was awesome.
How did it go? What was the atmosphere like, man? I haven't been to Canton.
I tell people all the time, if it's something you've never done, it needs to be on the bucket list. For me personally, this is the second time I've gone to Canton, but the first time I've ever done Hall of Fame weekend.
Okay.
And it was great because I got to hang out with, you know, I saw a lot of amazing people there. My man Richmond Webb was there, and we got to hang out and talk for a little bit. Tim Bowens was there. I think OJ McDuffie was there. I mean, there was just so many people that were there that weekend.
Legends.
Dan the Man was there. So Sean Wooden, shout out to Sean Wooden, who's been on the show a few times as well.
Okay.
So it's great. It's great stuff. And so for me, the atmosphere was wild because a majority of the fan base that was in camp this weekend were Dolphins fans.
Is that so?
Because Zach Thomas is getting inducted.
The aqua and green was flying
everywhere. Even and it's funny because they didn't even play in the Hall of Fame game. It was the Jets, that horrible green team from up north that we don't talk about because they're horrible. Okay, they're the worst. But there were a lot of their fans there too. But aside from that, it was pretty much a Dolphin weekend, and it was great. I had a good time. But I say all that because something that we haven't talked about on the show, and we're going to get into all this Dolphin stuff here. Don't worry about it. We're going to get into it, guys. But I want to touch on a couple of things before we get there. First thing is our boy D Wade got inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame, man. Yeah, shout out to that. Dwayne Wade got inducted into the Hall of Fame. And we didn't talk about it enough on this show, but you wanted to make sure that we talked about it this morning, and it's rightfully so. It definitely needs to be. Tell me what D Wade meant to you and what he meant to South Florida and Dade County and the Heat.
Well, I'm gonna say in the era where we grew up, obviously, I'm 39. I put it out there, born in 83, 80 babies, and obviously as a younger kid,
God, you're old.
Old man. And so you grew up obviously in the eras of watching Jordan obviously dominate in the 90s when you can finally comprehend basketball. But locally, the Heat started with that era with Pat Riley coming down in 96 and starting to build a championship type of team. And he couldn't quite get there with Tim Hardaway and Alonzo Mourning. And when the team took a little dive and the Heat had to draft, because we all know Pat Riley's notorious for not wanting to draft or develop players early on in his coaching career. It's funny how Spo took that on, and he went ahead and he drafted Dwayne Wade, and the franchise never looked back. Dwayne Wade is my favorite player of all time. He just transcended basketball in a city that was just known for football. He kind of turned the eye to basketball. I never forget going to the championship rallies in 06 and in 12 and just rooting for him, man, every part of his career, because I just always thought he did it right. A lot of times, a lot of players don't sacrifice. A lot of players don't take less money. A lot of players don't allow the best player in the world to come and play
in the world. Say it again for me. The best player in the world. Personally, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. It's true. We can have that debate. True. We can have that debate another day. My is Jordan 1, LeBron 2. We're gonna have that debate a whole other day. That's fine. That's fine. 6-0 and 6 MVPs talks. Look, you don't want to get into this, DJ.
We don't want to do that today. We're going to separate that for another day.
You need to, if you're going to know something, know that I am a LeBron fan till the day that I die, and LeBron is the GOAT. That's it. Okay, that's what he is.
But you'll never get shot for your LeBrons. Anyway,
those are facts, cuz. Those are straight facts.
Nobody's ever gonna run up on you for your LeBrons. I'm just gonna say that, so we can.
But I got a few LeBrons. I love LeBrons. They're the best, man.
They are great basketball.
Nobody's gonna run up on you and shoot you for your LeBrons. Look, hold up. I've had this debate with Cameron 954, the guy who does Thursdays with me from East 32, for like years. Bro. And he's never been able to shut me up. He's never been able to put one on me. But that might be, you might have got me there. Like, I have to be like, well, that's true. I ain't never seen a news headline about people getting shot over LeBrons. I mean, we've seen that for Jordans. So yeah, you might have got me on that one.
We've seen lines around.
I might have to wave the white flag after that one. Like that's the only time anyone's ever gotten me on the LeBron Jordan debate ever. So. Man.
I got 954. You gotta do some of your culture research too. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important part of that conversation. It can go. No, but LeBron obviously is a great player. But we're gonna get back to D-Wade and why he's in the Hall of Fame, other than the numbers. And I think just his personality, what he's done in the community. Obviously him as a family man, and obviously him now taking on different challenges now in his post career. that obviously with his family and obviously being the father to somebody in the LGBTQ community, that is big for him in terms of like how he's able to just transcend
everything that he's put his finger on has been
and
has been big. I've never lived in South Florida.
Okay.
And I run a South Florida show, but I've never lived there. So I try to explain to people that are from outside of South Florida how great Dwayne Wade was. And I think that there's a misconception for people outside of South Florida that doesn't get how great Dwayne Wade was in his heyday. And he was legit. I mean, I think he's a top 20 basketball player of all time. I think that's fair to say, top 20. You can argue with me.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think it'd be difficult to give me 19 other people in front of him would be tough, because I mean, there were some things he did in this league that were just like jaw-dropping, and especially DJ Genesis, when Shaq was here and they won that championship. People need to realize how they won that championship in part because of Flash.
I think because remember Game 3 down 13, the famous "I'm not going out like this."
Yep.
Things like that is what changes your perception about a player. Yes, we could have easily said, D Wade, he's in third year, kind of got bounced out by Dirk and the boy Shaq is old. You could have made the excuses, but Pat Riley put the time on there and says, hey, this is legacy. This is it right here. And D Wade said he's not going out like that. And literally it went from us losing that championship, because Dallas goes up 3-0, it's a wrap, to us going and pretty much counter sweeping and winning 4 in a row and winning that championship. And it just changes how you see a guy, especially in a city that's and a franchise that's never won a championship, to get the first one and on the backs of a player like that. I'm a small guy. When I go and play basketball, I tend to be a 2 guard. So things like that are really sat with me. My favorite game was actually, I was at the game when they were playing Chicago in that 3 overtime game when he got the steal.
Yes.
and he was able to run down and shoot that running 3 to knock it down, which is one of his greatest plays. If you look at all his highlight reels, one of his best plays. So big shout out to D Wade, and his legacy in South Florida definitely will never be denied. I'm sure there's going to be a statue outside. Do you think he's going to be the first statue outside?
He 100% will get a statue. He 100% will get a statue in South Florida, and he should. He 100% should. Now, you are DJ Genesis.
Yes, sir.
So we got to talk the music side of things. Do you know that Solo D did a Wade County song? Do you remember that he did a song called Wade County?
Yeah, he was rocking that when this was about what?
This was 4 or 5 years ago.
Wasn't it around the time when he kind of came back when
we'll play a little bit of the video, maybe the whole thing if people are rocking with it, but which I am. But this is the official music video of Wade County by Solo D. I don't know if y'all remember this, but it was big.
Solo D. I feel like a lot of people around the world might be looking at us crazy right now in Miami. Like, why y'all going so crazy for players? See if I can give y'all a little bit of insight. Wade County. Big lights and city things, the city dreams. People struggle on the daily, so the city schemes. Take a look at the city's teams, and it will seem that sometimes we find relief through them TV screens. I introduced you to a player, came and took the throne. Never had to brag about it, it was simply known. You fall 5 times, once you get to 6, you're strong. A simple model, ball harder, sit at home. The will to win, it get contagious, got a ball outrageous. It make you switch from underrated to valuable player. Taking risks on wild plays when it could get you injured. Even taking pay cuts for the bigger picture. Intuition, studying winners' conditions. Yeah, bring the right pieces in so we switch positions. And when we down, who gonna come through when we need who? It's procedure. Every team needs a leader. The one that take it and grab it. That's who the savage then winning becomes a habit. Every night you gotta have it. And hot and day, this is town full of hustlers. You gotta be a hustler to come with us. That's why we salute. MV3 since 03, no rent, no lease. This the home for big home me. We ain't had no jury. Guess who helped us get those rings? Rolling with you so the ship don't sink. That's why we yelling now. Wait, count, wait, count, wait, count, wait, count, wait, count, wait, count. Wait, count, wait, count, wait, count, wait, count, wait, count.
I need people to realize this was a vibe.
Wait, count, wait, count. Big lights and city things, the city dreams. People struggle on the daily, so the city schemes. Take a look at the city's teams and it will sing. That sometimes we find relief through them TV screens. The way you count it, what, the way you count it, wait, way you count it, wait, way you count it, MV3s, SOE, no rent, no leaves. This the home for big home me. Wait, count, wait, count, wait, count, wait, count. Who that? So low.
I'm gonna kill this. I don't care what nobody says.
So low.
Nah, I definitely got that. Got that riding across the bridge, you know. Coming over the A1.
It's got that old school vibe to it, man.
Yeah, man. They got the whole. You just laying back cruising.
It's got that old school vibe to it,
got
man.
got that dunk energy to it, you know.
It does, 100%. It does, man. And I
can see Trick Daddy.
I had to play that for you this morning, man.
Nah, that was good, man. So shout out to one Hall of Famer, and I guess we're gonna talk about the next one, man. How about your favorite Zach Thomas moments, man? Watching him play. I got one that stands up in my mind for sure. Let me see if it's the same one for you.
I mean, look, for me, as far as it's great to have Dwayne Wade and Zach Thomas be put in their respective Hall of Fames in the same year, because for me, it finally shows that South Florida in the city of Miami and Miami sports is getting some of the respect that it deserves. Because for years, for me, DJ Genesis, I've always felt like Miami as a sports city has been second class to the national media. They don't get the respect they deserve. They don't get the all-star nods. They don't get the accolades that they should. And it's not until somebody like LeBron James or Messi or Shaq or Tyreek Hill comes to the team that they're like, oh, snap, now look at this. Now, some of it is justified and rightfully so. I agree with that, right? To say, okay, well, now this team is legit. Let's put them on the map. Let's say it. But for us South Florida fans that have been rocking with Dwayne Wade, that have been rocking with Dan Marino, that were rocking with Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor and Brock Marion and Sam Madison and Patrick Surtain and, you know, those dogs on defense in that early 2000s. Yeah. For me, it's not any one thing for Zach Thomas that I'm like, oh my God, I remember this moment for Zach Thomas. For me, it's just, I encompass it all. And I remember watching plenty of games back in the day where when the Dolphins were on defense, every play was Zach Thomas with the tackle, Zach Thomas with the assisted tackle, Zach Thomas in the backfield, Zach Thomas with the tackle, Zach Thomas with the sack, Zach Thomas with the intercept. I mean, there were multiple games where I heard nothing but Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas's name all game long. And I need people to realize, you know, with Dwayne Wade and Zach Thomas, that they were the best. Some of the best the game has ever seen at their respective positions. You go back and look at Zach. It's a shame that Zach Thomas was not a first ballot Hall of Famer because his numbers were there. His numbers were better than most of the linebackers that are in the Hall of Fame today. So the fact that he had to wait 3 times in order to get the respect that he deserves in Canton, is beyond me. And for me, it's directly resulted in South Florida being disrespected to the national media and all these things. And that's, I've always had a problem with that. And so I can't give you any one good thing about Zach. It's just the encompass of the respect that I believe South Florida sports players deserve. And they definitely got their recognition this year. But I want to make sure moving forward in the future, they get it more. Like Richmond Webb. That man deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. 100%. And like his numbers are there and they're on point the way that other offensive linemen in the NFL were. He was the most dominant at his position for a period of time in the NFL. He was. Richmond Webb was that. And by the way, maybe besides Jonathan Ogden, right? But aside from J.O., I don't know too many other people that were as good as Richmond Webb, and I'm just being real with you. So for me, that's what I've always loved, and that's my thought about Zach.
I got a hot take question for you.
Yes.
Do you think Zach Thomas? This is just going to really get your edges. Zach Thomas is. Do you believe that Teddy Bruschi belongs in the Hall of Fame? That's the question I should ask for.
I mean, I want to say no as a Dolphins fan, right?
But no, take that out. I want you to think with your third eye. Pause. Not that one. The bird's eye.
Hold up, DJ Genesis.
The bird eye. The bird's eye. The bird's eye. You know that.
My Homer hat. You want me to take off my Homer hat?
Yeah.
It can be argued that he doesn't, but
it's not.
But I think Teddy Bruschi, and I know this is going to get hate. I think he was a product of a perfect system, right? I think he was a product of a perfect system that that Bill Belichick created. And was he a perfect player for the scheme that they ran those years in New England? 100%. But I believe that he didn't have a mere half the talent that Zach Thomas had. And I know that's going to get a lot of hate, but from people that are like, hold up, Steven, you're not thinking with your. No, I would not put Teddy Bruschi on Zach Thomas's level. I just wouldn't. I think Teddy Bruschi was a product of a great system. Zach Thomas was great no matter who was coaching.
Okay. The reason why I asked that question is because I think sometimes we get into the politics of sports and we think winning and championships and the accolades from the team propels you to that Hall of Fame level. And I think in the NFL, I believe they really try to do a good job on the individual talent to get it. Because obviously Zach Thomas didn't win any championships. He probably won one playoff game in their tenure.
Well, and Genesis, that's why Miami sports players don't get the recognition that they deserve, because they don't have the playoff accolades and the rings to prove their greatness. And for me, the Hall of Fame isn't about how many championships you win. It's about how great of a player you were, what your impact was on not only your team, but the league in itself.
But the reason I'm fighting back on you on that is because as much as you're saying that this was his third time getting in and is a winning, I think it's pretty much right on par. Like, yes, he had the accolades. Do I think that he was a first ballot? I can't say that because
he was 100%.
I understand that, but when you come into the politics where he got in, but we didn't win anything. Same way we can argue Teddy Bruschi possibly doesn't have the talent, but he led his team to multiple, and that defense was built around him. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you a question. Brian Urlacher was a first ballot Hall of Famer,
right?
Okay, and Zach Thomas's numbers blow his out the water in certain categories. And now Urlacher played in Chicago. Bigger market.
He was also a defensive
and won a Super Bowl, I don't even think he won it. He didn't win a Super Bowl. He went to a Super Bowl.
They played in one.
Yeah, he went to a Super Bowl in
He
Chicago.
was
He never won one.
Wasn't he defensive player of the year a couple times?
He was, but he was played on a lot of bad Bears teams too, to be fair. So
I mean, the Dolphins weren't really gung-ho either.
Well, you're making my point. Why is Brian Urlacher a first ballot Hall of Famer, but Zach Thomas wasn't?
I think also politics. Who's in the class with Zach Thomas? Maybe some of those players possibly deserve to get in above him because remember it is who is in the class as well. It's not just that if you do deserve, it's who you're going up against, and maybe they get more votes that year because they were actually better players. What happens is with players when you go to the Hall of Fame, you don't want to be a fringe player. You don't want to be a guy that might be meddling. You might get in on the first ballot because the class might be weak, or you want to make sure that you're like pretty much like a Deion Sanders. It doesn't matter what class I'm in. It doesn't matter who I'm going up against.
To be fair, this was a pretty good class. This was a no pushover class. Rondé Barber, Glecko, obviously Zach. Couple of other people I can't think of.
Now, when I saw the list, and there's nobody else that stood out more. I know Rondé Barber, but the twins were cool. But so
DJ Genesis, are you giving a hot take that the reason Zach Thomas made it this year is because there was no real other competition this year?
I'm not going to. No, he definitely deserves it. I do feel that voters do understand that there's only so many times guys can be on the block as well. And they take that into consideration. But I'm also not going to say that anybody on that list is going to blow me away per se, like, any of the all-time greats. Am I wrong? Is there an all-time great on that list?
No, there's not. There's nobody that made the Hall of Fame this year that was the best at their position.
That's all I'm saying. I'm just
or considered the best at their position.
So as a voter, I can go in and say, you know what? Zach Thomas has been here 2 times. He does deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
His numbers show.
His numbers show. I'm putting him in. He deserves it on this round. It kind of makes it an
That's
easy
a hot
decision.
take, DJ Genesis.
Hey, if I was a voter, that's kind of a mentality. He deserves it. We're gonna say he deserves it, but there's nobody in the class that I'm gonna put over him that I'm gonna say deserves it more than he does.
And you're saying the last 2 years or 3 years, he had other people that were more deserving than him, even though he deserved to get in.
Now I do need to go look at the list and so on and so forth, but we always have to remember these are human.
I'll say this, Genesis. Out of let's say the 8 people that get inducted every year are in that range, right? You can't tell me that for the last 3 years, 24 of them have been all 24 have deserved it more than Zach.
I can't be a homer. You know what's funny about me? This is the reason why I always go with the Jordan over LeBron situation. Why
are you bringing that back up, DJ?
The reason why
we moved past this, man.
I always got it. You always got to
just sticking the knife in the front. True friends stab you in the front. Man. That's what it is.
That's all it is, man. The reason, because I really, really value winning, and I know in NFL it's not always about winning Super Bowls. So I don't go about winning Super Bowls. I'm talking about winning your division, making sure that you're the class of your division as well. Winning playoff games, getting deep into the playoffs. We know football is hard.
That is a team thing.
I totally understand.
Hall of Fame is for individual accolades. It is not for team things.
But the reason,
the one exception to the rule is the 1972 Dolphins got in as a team. But that's it. No other team has done that.
Well, when they go to the Hall of Fame, they put how many Super Bowls you won. They didn't say how many numbers you have. They also put your Super Bowls. They put your
numbers up there.
I know, but those things help.
Right here. This is from the Hall of Fame. I got this. It says 7-time Pro Bowl, 2-time NFL tackles leader, 5 first team All Pros.
Okay. He got that because also those are his individual accolades. But trust me, if you won a Super Bowl, it would have got that 2-time Super Bowl champion. It would have said that too. That's all I'm saying. So you add that, he gets in, obviously, possibly in the first. He does deserve, but because I think sometimes getting does.
Darrelle Revis, DeMarcus Ware, Zach Thomas, Jay Thomas. I mean, it was a good Hall of Fame class. It was a pretty solid Hall of Fame class. 100 Joe Thomas. Yeah, Joe Thomas, what you can argue was probably the best in his class. So I apologize to Joe Thomas. For a good 10-year gap, he was probably the best in the NFL. And he did it quietly, and he did it on a crappy team in Cleveland, DJ Genesis, to be fair. Cleveland was the butt crack of the NFL. Let's just call that what it is.
I mean, okay? he was a great offensive line, man. He was a boss, man. His Madden rating was like.
I gotta push back from you that the Hall of Fame is a player accomplishment. It is not a team accomplishment. And
I'm saying, it don't hurt.
No, you're right. So here's the other problem that I want to end, because I know I want to talk Dolphins with you, and there's one other thing that's non-Dolphins that I want to talk to you before and just get your take on.
All right.
The last thing I'll say to this is that for me, I think that when it comes to pro baseball, pro football, and even probably pro basketball, although I will say in pro basketball, I cannot remember in recent history where I was like, this guy got in, but this person didn't. I've never really said that in basketball, to be fair. But at least in baseball and football, I can say there have been plenty of moments where I'm like, how the hell is this person not in? And I think it's a direct result of the voting process of how people get into the Hall of Fame. And it's so outdated. They need to update it and change the voting processes of how players get in, because it's a shame that Richmond Webb isn't in. It's a shame that and getting into baseball and I don't want to get into the conversation of this, but Pete Rose should be in as a player. He should be.
That's a whole nother. But that's a whole nother.
I know that's a whole other issue. But there are plenty of players in pro base. Like, I cannot stand Barry Bonds. I am not a Barry Bonds fan. But as far as I'm concerned, there's no way. And baseball is its own thing, and people are going to argue with me on this, and we could have a whole show on it. I'll just say this: there's no way to go back and see from 1984 to the early 2000s who did and who did not use steroids. You can make a very good assumption on who did use steroids, and there are some people that were proven to use steroids, but as far as I'm concerned, just like in the 1920s it was the dead ball era, this was the steroid era, mid 80s to early 2000s.
And the reason why
Bonds deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
The reason why I wink and eye it is because they allowed it.
They did.
100%. Like, that's the reason.
And then they were hypocrites about it, and Bud Selig was like, I can't believe this is in the. But you were the owner of the Brewers. You knew what was going on in your clubhouse. Don't come at me with that BS. 1998 is the reason I fell in love with baseball. I fell in love because of Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Mm-hmm. And most of the younger, our generation fan base fell in love with baseball because of the 1998 home run race. You can't tell me otherwise. And steroids, in 1994 there was a strike. There was no World Series. The MLB knew they had a problem. They had to get new eyes on their game. How do you do that? Chicks dig
the long ball.
Chicks dig the long ball, baby. And that's what happened. And you can't tell me otherwise. You can't.
So when it comes to not putting them in, it's like these guys have the writers or the people that are putting these guys in. I'm like, come on, guys, like, don't be hypocrites as well and blame guys for doing things that allow. That's like us, like when things were wrong in the civil rights era, but it was by the law, Hey, people did it because it was lawful, just because it's immoral. If it's lawful, people are gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
So real quick, I just watched Netflix by the way, 3 a.m. this morning. I haven't watched it yet. Swamp Kings came out for Gators. About that Gators team that had Tim Tebow, Aaron Hernandez, the Pouncey brothers, Cam Newton, I mean, it had everybody on that team. Urban Meyer. So Swamp Kings came out this morning on Netflix. That is on the watch list this afternoon. Like, I'm going to watch Untold Swamp Kings. It's going to be dope. But aside from that, I watched last night the Untold of the Balco guy, Victor Conte.
Okay.
And highly recommend everybody go watch that, because it doesn't just concern baseball. It concerns doping and all of sports and HGH and how people did crazy good documentary. Go watch that, Untold. I think it's like an hour long. It's worth your hour of your life, 100%. All right, we could get on into all that and have its own show. One more thing I want to get into before we start talking about Jonathan Taylor and people going crazy and the Dolphins talk, and I know we need to hop in on that. I should have talked about this first because it was non-sports related, but I have you up here, DJ Genesis. You toured 2 years with Kelly Rowland as her DJ, and you did concerts all over the world. Okay. I watch a lot of podcasts. I watch Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports. Shout out to Nikki Smokes. I watch The Brilliant Idiots with Charlemagne the God and Andrew Schultz. I watch Joe Rogan. I watch a little bit of everything. Okay. I watch NASCAR podcast. I watch even, local other Dolphins podcast, all that. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a good 80% of all these podcasts that have said that, and I know this is going to be weird, and we're going to spend a very short amount of time on this 5-minute conversation, and then we're going to get into Dolphins, so don't go anywhere. About 80% of them have said that Taylor Swift concert is the best concert they've ever been to in their lives. I wanted to get your take on this real quick because I might have an opportunity to go see it, and I'm like, do I spend the money? Do I go see Taylor Swift? Is it something? What are your thoughts? Because I've heard nothing but absolutely rave. Andrew Schultz went on his podcast this past week with Charlemagne the God and pretty much said, bro, best concert ever in the history of concerts. And it's not even close. Michael Jackson is the only person that can compete with her in live performances. And you performed with Kelly Rowland for 2 years. So I just want to get your take on this.
Best performance, only Michael Jackson. I mean, I don't now by the mass numbers and who she can reach out to, who she could cross over for, I think, and who she's bringing. I think Aaron Rodgers is a Swiftie now or something like that.
I know, bro. Aaron Rodgers
is a Swiftie over here.
Look, so, I'm not afraid to admit it, but I have to admit my reason is all the hype. And if somebody hypes something up, I got to see if the hype is real.
If the hype is real, I mean, I would like to, I think that's a very important part of marketing as well. Making sure that people that are on the fringe, the likes of you and I, if our eyes are on it, they're doing a great job. Imagine
they're doing a great job.
Have been locked in with them for years, But to say the best performance ever, I don't know if that's kind of a, in the moment, prisoner of the moment kind of energy. Because yes, I did go on tour with Kelly Rowland, and there's a woman right now on tour by the name of Beyonce Knowles. And when it comes to talent,
Did you perform with Beyonce at all?
I did not get a chance to perform.
Okay.
She was at some shows, but she didn't perform. But to have Beyonce do what she does after 3 children, what I'm saying, married to the golden hip hop.
I saw Beyonce with Jay-Z in
I did too, on the run, right?
And it was dope as hell. I'll give her props, but I'm just saying.
I will say this. What's the
best live concert you've ever been to? What's the best live concert you've ever been to?
Kanye and Jay-Z.
Kanye and Jay-Z for me too. Watch the Throne tour was.
Watch the Throne was
mine. It was my favorite too.
Mind blowing.
Real quick story, real quick, and then we'll get into it. I had my wife bought me tickets for my birthday. A ticket. She didn't even want to go with me. She's like, "Here's a ticket. Go have fun. Here's a new outfit." She got me new shoes, new hat, like everything. Woo! I was decked out. I was swagged out. I was good. And she got me a ticket. And the ticket was like in the second level.
Good.
I walk in and they're like, let me see your ticket. I show them my ticket, and they're like, hold on, wait right here. And I'm like, what? Why are you making me wait? So they made like a couple of us wait. And then the guy comes, like one of the guys comes up to us and says, hey, look, just so you know, the lighting for this show is blocking your seat. It's unsafe for you to sit in the seat, so we're going to move you.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what the? Are y'all kidding me?
Yeah.
I should have just shut up, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
Sat first row.
Woo!
Right next to the stage for Watch the Throne tour, Kanye and
You're
Jay-Z.
lying, yo. Oh,
I
man.
swear to God. Swear to God, DJ Genesis.
See, sometimes you just gotta shut your mouth.
Kanye, Jay-Z, Watch the Throne tour, and it was dope. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. But yes, it is. Now, Raul says Foo Fighters in Vegas. Foo Fighters are my favorite band, and they are on the bucket list. I want to see the Foo Fighters and Imagine Dragons. Like, they're up there. Like, I like all types of music, but Foo Fighters for me is like, I got to see Dave Grohl live in concert. So I'm with you on that, Raul. I want to go see him.
You know what's funny? I have an opportunity, obviously, working with the Panthers, that obviously they bring concerts. So there's going to be a lot of people running through.
Gabriel says Rock the Mic tour was wild.
Oh, that's
I'm trying to see what other people say.
Gabriel, Rock the Mic. Hey, Gabriel.
Beer guy says, I can't say all that now, bro, but I did see Stevie Wonder live. Stevie Wonder live was probably dope, I bet.
I'm going to tell you, Beer Guy Group, Corp, I'm going to go see Earth, Wind, and Fire and what's his name? This is killing me. They're coming on the 25th to FLA Live Arena.
You going to see Earth, Wind, and Fire?
And Lionel Richie.
Bro, I'm a little jealous. That's going to be a dope concert.
Earth, Wind, and Fire and Lionel Richie. You know, you got to see these legends before.
You're going to see Lionel Richie and Earth, Wind, and Fire?
They're performing together, man. Pink is coming later this year.
I know I'm a bro, but I might fly down there for that. You got to take me out. We got to go on a bro date for that one.
We could probably I to see Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Bro, what you guys do, bro? We went to go see Earth, Wind, and Fire and Lionel Richie. It was fire, cuz it was straight like that. Oh my goodness! Oh yes,
all night long. I mean, these just got hits for days,
anybody
man.
else said. Silk Sonic, Shannon
Silk
Tucker
Sonic
said.
Is not bad.
All right, that's dope. Anybody else want to say?
Oh, Steven kind of got. Yeah, guys. Anybody else want to know what was your favorite concert? Actually, I want to know what happened at those concerts, because those are the best things. The pre-games, who you went with, you know, who got too drunk, who was singing all the songs. You like, yo, you know, like those to me sometimes are the best. Some of the best moments, you know. Oh, he said he's gonna be there too. Kenny G.
Level 2 noob says ABBA.
ABBA.
Don't knock ABBA.
No, hold on. Let me tell you something about ABBA. Let me tell you something about ABBA and that damn Dancing Queen song. If I'm playing any party that has anybody 40 and over, it's gonna rock the house. It's gonna rock the house. It doesn't fail. It just does not fail. Yeah.
One of Taylor Hawkins. It was one of his last. Now I'm super jealous of you, bro. I saw Trick Daddy and Floral. Okay. That was probably dope when I was young. When Trick Daddy was in his heyday, that was probably a dope ass concert too.
When he had those real anthems, man.
Bro.
Shut up. Remember the Shut Up remix and those kind of things? We can get into a whole other song, but I know this is a family show.
It's a family show, DJ Genesis. All right, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. All right. It is Hot Take Tuesday. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Share the link. Let people know that we're live. And absolutely, positively, make sure you love and watch the show. If you don't love us and you don't watch the show, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you don't love us, we love you. We're the fans. Okay, let's make sure we do it. Okay. Real quick, Wayne D says Chris Brown went in. Rush Live was epic. Dave Grohl came out, started playing Monkey Wrench, and I went down in the mosh pit like a sack of rock.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
New Finland, that's pretty dope. So Stevie Wonder, I was selling beer. I told my boss when I went, boss, look, when he comes on, you have all of your you can have all of your product. Went front stage. It was beautiful.
It's the experience, man. Who you see is great, but it's always what you do at these concerts, how you find yourself from the top to the bottom. It's like your story, you know. You find yourself front row at the concert. You don't tell me that's going to make the concert experience like 10 times better. Or some of those that make the concert experience 10 times worse. I like those stories too. Like,
I like
those are great, man. So we'll read those, but definitely let's get into some Dolphin talk.
Let's talk some Dolphins talk. So news came out yesterday around the NFL that Jonathan Taylor was being put up for that he was the Indianapolis Colts were allowing Jonathan Taylor to openly talk to other teams to discuss possible trades. That the trade gates were open on Jonathan Taylor, and obviously Dolphins Twitter went into a meltdown yesterday. We had multiple weeks. We had 2.5 months of Dalvin Cook talk, right? And that didn't come to fruition. A-Chain goes down with an injury last Saturday. We almost kind of lose our minds because we don't know what happens. Right after the show yesterday, it comes out that he's going to be week to week, and he should be good. He should be ready to go by week 1. I think he's going to be fine. And which is great. We dodged a bullet on that. But now people are saying that, well, the Dolphins had conversations before with Indy. Well, we're going to find out if that comes to fruition now. The problem with Jonathan Taylor is what you would have to give up. You'd have to give up, first round. Apparently, Indy's saying that they want a first round pick, and you have to pay him. And right now, the Dolphins are already handcuffed in salary cap hell. They only got a few million to pay for this year, and they are $30 million over for next year. So what do you think, A, the Dolphins are having internal conversations about bringing in Jonathan Taylor? B, do you think Greer's actively discussing what it would take with Indy? Or C, is this all just what we just dealt with Dalvin, and this is just smoke, and the Dolphins are currently happy with what they got, and they're not going to have a conversation about Jonathan?
No, I think they're definitely having a conversation about Jonathan. Obviously, the numbers have to match, and we saw what they did in the offseason with multiple players by restructuring contracts, putting more money up front or backlaying contract. So they know what to do financially to shift things around. It seems like in the NFL, you can shift money around more than any other league to make sure that you get the player that you want. But like you said, I know we don't like them, but slowly but surely, those guys up there that play in MetLife Stadium are definitely getting a little better and a little better and a little better. And now they're definitely the talk of the preseason right now, which is the New York Jets. But Aaron Rodgers is expected to play. Obviously, they got Dalvin Cook, and we gotta keep our bullets up. You know what I'm saying? I understand it might be expensive, and if we could pay him later, maybe we can restructure his contract or whatnot, or possibly give up some pieces that we might need, but we can readjust as long as we have that back. Because I do think that an explosive running game with the Dolphins passing game makes the offense kind of untouchable, and then with Nick Fangio doing on his defense, it would definitely put us in the championship conversation for sure. We're already kind of there, but we still got to fight with the Bills and get over the hump with Tua. But when you have a running back like that, you can almost be sure that Tua's protection will almost be at an all-time high with what you can do, play action, obviously make him run the ball. He can run the ball 20, 30 times if you need him to. He can catch the ball out of the backfield if you're doubling up receivers, if one of the receivers go down. So he definitely gives us another look at a championship level. Now, obviously, it comes down to the money. And when you said that they want to give up certain things, I don't think they're in a position of power to negotiate right now, since they're saying that they have to, they've honored the trade. Now, if it was before and they didn't know if they were going to trade him or whatnot, now it seems like the relationship is soured. Kind of like the Lillard situation, and him coming to Miami, they're losing traction day by day. You know, so I think Indy can't go. They can ask for it, of course, they can say it, but when the deadline starts ticking, because obviously now the season's about to start, you know, the window is very short for what they can ask for and then get.
All right, so I follow a lot of people on Twitter. Neil Driscoll, shout out to Neil Driscoll. He is a great insider for the Dolphins. He does a lot of stuff on Inside the NFL. And I love his content. It's absolutely amazing. He shared this on Twitter this morning, and I thought it was beneficial to kind of talk about it today. He said, quote, if they made the move for Taylor, Miami would have to undergo some salary cap gymnastics next season, as they projected to be $32 million over the cap. Signing Christian Wilkins, $20 million per year, and Jonathan Taylor, $14 million per year, would put the Miami Dolphins $66 million over the cap. Now, what can we do? Release Cedric Wilson, Emmanuel Ogbah, and Jerome Baker as post-June cuts saves at least $35 million. Now we're halfway there. You restructure Jalen Ramsey, that saves about 18.2. Then you release Jason Sanders, Mike White, Jeff Wilson, Keon Crossan, that saves another 13.2 million. By the way, that only got us to being even. That didn't even create salary cap space for us for next year. So look, a lot would need to happen. Now, you know, for me, Jonathan Taylor is 24 years old to Dalvin Cook's 28. So if you're going to trade or you're going to go out and get a talented player at a position like running back, I would want a 24-year-old over a 28-year-old, especially in the NFL, right? Less miles, obviously higher upside. And I think Jonathan Taylor would be an amazing fit for this offense. Now, with all of that being said, okay, I don't see this happening in any way, shape, or form. I don't think the Dolphins are there. I don't think the Dolphins are even going to consider it. I think they would have considered it if A-Chain was hurt more than he was. If A-Chain was legit hurt, we would have been all over the Jonathan Taylor trade, and it wouldn't even been close. But A-Chain's going to be all right. And I think that the Miami Dolphins have high expectations for the young rookie. And I think he's going to be, I personally think he's going to take the league by storm this year. And, you know, you still have Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson in front of him. And I think that three-headed, and personally, I think it could be a three-headed running back. You still got guys like Savon Ahmed and maybe even Chris Brooks right behind them. Now, Chris Brooks probably won't end up making the practice squad, but we saw what Savon Ahmed did in preseason game too. Now, granted, it's preseason game. Granted, it's against second and third stringers, but he still went off. Almost 100 yards rushing, 99 yards rushing, 35 yards receiving, a tutty. Like, the guy is good. And if that's my fourth string running back, I am okay with that. So, and I think people need to realize the Dolphins running back room is going to be fine as long as we are not relying on any one player that's currently there. And if you're going to put your weight onto somebody, let it be on the rookie A-Chain. And for me, that kid's got a lot of upside,
You said that all to say that you don't believe in paying running backs.
I think that's part of the problem, DJ Genesis. Like, what, like, giving Jonathan Taylor $14 million per year. We didn't want to give a guy who was only 4 years older than him, that was from here, $4.5 million. We were struggling to give him 4.5. We're going to give him 10 on top of the 4 to Jonathan Taylor. Now, do I think Jonathan Taylor is a top 10 player in this league? I do. 100% I do. But I don't think that you need a top 10 running back. You don't need a top tier running back to win a Super Bowl. You need a good running back room to win a Super Bowl.
That's fair.
The Dolphins have a good running back room. They do.
That's
100%.
Fair. And the recent history has definitely said that Pacheco was the running back for the Chiefs when their recent runs and so on and so forth. So I do agree with that notion of that you don't. Now I do believe that you need to pay valued running backs if the market is there for that team. The Dolphins isn't in the market for that. So if you have the two fighting against each other in the league, we don't really want to pay running backs, but I'm going to clear out my running back room or other facets of my team to go ahead and pay a running back $14 million. That's literally to sell tickets. And I'm just going to be honest with you. That's to sell tickets and to be a threat on paper. But I do agree with you. I don't think that's a winning formula. I'm not saying him fitting with a certain team wouldn't work, but
the last 10 years, DJ Genesis, the most a running back has made that's won a Super Bowl is $4 million.
That's okay. That's what I'm saying. So
there was one player that was paid over 4, 2 players were paid over 2, and I think the rest were all paid under $1 million. They're RB1s on their depth chart over the last 10 Super Bowl wins.
I could barely name the Patriots running backs when they won the Super Bowls. I think it was White and Lamont and a whole bunch of Blunt and it's a bunch of guys that we wouldn't hear going to the Hall of Fame or even all right.
So here, DJ Genesis, here's my theory on why Dolphin fans are making a big fuss about this, right? And some of it, I guess, is rightfully so, but just understand this is where I think it comes from. We had arguably one of the best running backs of all time. He's probably top 10 all time in the NFL. I don't think he's top 5. Top 10 running back all time in Ricky Williams. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
no. We had Ricky here, right? I didn't know where you thought I was going, but I was talking about Ricky.
She's going back to Zonka days. I was like,
well, I mean, where are we going? Right? But the recent Dolphin fans remember how great Ricky Williams was when he was here in his heyday.
He was a workable. I remember the game when they gave him the ball like 35 times.
Undeniable, right? Undeniable how great he was. And it was fun to watch him play when he was on, right? And I also think that the Dolphins fan base realizes the problems that we have on the offensive line. And we want to know, can we win a Super Bowl with the current structure of how the offensive line is? My personal opinion is as long as Teron Armstead stays healthy, the answer to that question is yes. But we're putting a lot of faith in a player that hasn't played more than 13 or 14 games in a season ever in his career.
But are we more nervous about the right tackle side, though? I mean, we have a left-handed quarterback. The right side seems to be the problem.
You're right, but the reality of the situation is without Teron Armstead playing, that offensive line, if he doesn't play, then you got to move talent over to that side, and now you're even more of a hole on the right side. And do you get what I'm saying? Like there's not enough depth on this offensive line for the Dolphins to be like, oh, snap, if we lose somebody on the O-line, starting O-line, we'll be okay because it's next man up. The Dolphins do not have enough depth at the offensive line for them to think that way. They just don't. I don't care what anybody says, they don't, okay? And with the injury history of QB1, if I say his name 3 times, he might come to life. I don't want to say it 3 times, okay? I just need people to know that the offensive line to me is the Achilles heel of this team. And I think Dolphin fans know that. And because they know that, they're like, what can we do to mask this situation? Because it doesn't look like they're going to address the depth situation on the offensive line. Well, there's only 2 ways you can really mask that, Genesis. Number 1, with a great quarterback in this league. I think Tua can be that guy, but he hasn't done it yet, and he hasn't played a full season yet, really. He did his rookie year, but he went back and forth with Fitzpatrick, right? So, and he was still, recovering from his injury in college the year before. So I'll say this. Tua needs to play the entire year for the fan base to have 100% faith in him. That's first thing. Because even Tua-neers will sit here and tell you, he's got to play the whole season.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no argument there. And the other thing that you can mask a crappy offensive line is a great running back. And the Dolphins have good running backs. They have a good running back room, but they don't have a great running back room. They don't have a great running back. And so Jonathan Taylor or Dalvin Cook would have helped could help mask the inefficiencies on the O-line. And so that's why Dolphins fans are up in roar about the running back situation.
I agree. I totally agree with you. I don't think our defense. First of all, I think we're not really we're gonna know what this Dolphins defense is gonna look like under Nick Fangio, and I'm really interested in that because I think last year Mike McDaniels gave the defensive coordinator a lot of strain, and he had to figure out a way with all the talent that we had that we would get that we would have to use the offense so much to always be in game. So I think this defense is really going to also be able to dictate teams. But back to the argument at hand, the hot take in terms of whether we need Jonathan Taylor or not. I am going to say that if we add Jonathan Taylor, depending on the pieces that we have to give up, that it may come back to haunt us. And I just got a tweet saying that Jonathan Taylor is spotted at the Miami International Airport. So I don't know what's going on here.
Don't let people fool you. That ain't true. Who said that?
I'm gonna see if it's right. I'm gonna see if this
DJ Genesis. I don't know if you know this, but don't read everything you read on Twitter. Okay, it ain't the truth. I don't let people fool you.
That was John
thinking that.
Jonathan, that was Jonathan C. Taylor or somebody else. You know, Jonathan
C. Taylor. Exactly.
I just want to see if the fans was gonna go ahead and run the Twitter right quick to see what was going on.
Yeah, like look, there is. I'm telling y'all right now, there's almost no chance of this happening unless something unbelievable happens. And that is Indianapolis takes a big chunk of his contract and eats it for us, which they're not going to do. And or B, they're willing to also take on somebody like Cedric Wilson's contract or Emmanuel Ogba's contract, one of the two. And I don't see them doing that and eating the contract with it. And we would have to give up probably a first-round pick.
And I do think that
we're not doing that for a running back.
Yeah, I don't think the Dolphins are in a position to be giving up first-round picks or second-round picks when we're still trying to get that depth. I know we got young players, but every year you build. That's how you build those Super Bowl teams, by having depth and good classes every year. And if you give up your and if you give up your future picks, because I don't think we hit it out of the park when we had those first round. Did we? I don't even know what we got a grade on it. Everyone, Greer and
this past year.
No, the couple years before, when we had like three first, and when Igbenogany was the third of the first round.
Okay.
And I know
DJ Genesis, I know you're new to the show. We don't talk about that man on my show. Okay, we just don't. Okay, He's not going to make the squad this year, okay? Just let me hear you say, Steven, Noah, in no way, shape, or form is not going to make the squad. Okay?
All right, and Noah in no way, shape, or form is going to make the team.
Just as long as you believe that, I do too.
But do you think that the drafting him is kind of like a look at the whole debacle of all those drafts, or do you say, Tua was a part of that, but so was he? Like, what do you rate it? In terms of those,
I don't know if I want to give it a grade, but here's what I'll say: it's the
I need a grade, man. It's Hot Take Tuesday.
The problem with the Genesis is it's the reason why Chris Greer gets killed every year, more and more. He can't draft an O-line. That's what people will say, right? And he's whiffed on some pretty good picks, right? There's a good portion of the fan base that just doesn't believe in Tua, which I think is ridiculous. Go look at that man when he's on. I love him. He's great. He's hands down the best quarterback we've had since Dan Marino, and it's not even close.
I mean, Chris Greer, I give him overall a decent grade in terms of the pieces he's able to bring in. Obviously, Tyreek Hill being able to make that trade.
He's one of the best trade negotiator masterminds I've ever seen from a GM in the history of the NFL.
Waddle.
What he has done with trades is unreal. But is he a great drafter? Is he a great draft or talent? I think that's definitely debatable. Like you can make the argument that he's whiffed on too many picks in order for me to say, okay, like you don't have to hit on everything, but
what is his hit percentage? About 60%, 65%? The reason I'm asking you because you studied the draft, and I wait till the season comes.
We did this. We did this like a year ago, DJ Genesis, on the show where we went through the entire Dolphins draft picks since Chris Greer allegedly has been in charge, and I think we said that 60% of his picks were hits.
Okay, I mean that's 40%
weren't, but the ones he's missed have been a good portion of the ones he's whiffed on have been not just back end, but some first, second, and third round picks. And it's people are going to critique you more. Like there's no reason that Noah should have been drafted at his. It just shouldn't have been.
That could be a miss.
Right?
But do you think that them picking Tua over Justin Herbert was a miss? I mean, or we just haven't seen.
Let's be. You're gonna DJ Genesis. You don't understand what you're about to start because we've had this conversation for years on this channel and every other Dolphins channel on YouTube. But for the sake of you in the conversation, I will have it once more. The Dolphins did the right. They drafted him right because everybody in college football and everybody in pro football said Herbert has an accuracy issue. Herbert throws a lot of interceptions. Those were the two knocks that Herbert had coming out of college. Tua didn't have those. Tua's issue was an injury. So the question is, do you go with somebody who has no injury background, who has an accuracy problem and throws a lot of picks, or do you or throws picks, or do you go with Tua, who's won a national championship, mind you, but is coming off a big injury that has ended some players' football careers?
But I agree with the pick. I think Tua was the right pick for our organization.
I do too,
and I think he's an amazing leader. And if he just stays off the mat, he's shown to be a great talent. Like I remember when I bought season tickets for the Dolphins. I remember the shift that we were having, and I wanted to know if I could believe in a quarterback. And I honestly feel like I can believe in him when he's in the game. You know what I'm saying? I might be nervous when he hits the mat probably next season, but I'm not nervous about when he steps back. Is he going to make the right decision? Is he going to be sharp on his passes? Does he know what the hell is going on? Does he have the offense organized? He's proven that to me when he's been able to stay upright. It's just to obviously do that over 17 games.
And the Miami Dolphins YouTube channel says if you can't hit 50% of the first round, that's a good percentage, and you're not going to get Jonathan Taylor in the first round next year. I think what we said when we did this a while back was he's hit on about 60% of his picks, but his picks third, second, or first or higher were less than 50%. And I think that's where it came in. He has a lot of he's hit on some fourth, fifth, and even sixth rounders. And there's also hasn't been I think it's been right at 50. I don't know if it was under 50. It was like right at 50% on his third, second, and first round picks. So look, and that means 10% of his picks in the later rounds he's hit on, which I think is good in the later rounds, personally. I'd have to go back again and do it because I feel like I'm saying something wrong there. But if you watch the show for 3 years, we've done that on the show before. Yeah, I mean, look, here's the reality of the situation. Jonathan Taylor is not going to be a Miami Dolphin. Devon A-Chain is going to be up for Rookie of the Year. Mark my words, as long as he stays healthy. And the Dolphins are going to win 12 to 13 games this year and win the AFC East. Facts. Hot take, facts.
I like it. As you were talking about that, I was just looking at his draft picks, and I can see in the first round where he could probably is only
Jalen Phillips was a hit.
Jalen Phillips.
Christian Wilkins was a hit.
Laramie Tunsil turned out to be a hit.
Tunsil will get, if we win a Super Bowl this year,
because he turned into all of.
We'll get a statue outside of Hard Rock Stadium, and deservedly so. Him and his bong mask will get a statue outside of Hard Rock Stadium.
Right. Then he drafted Tua and Austin Jackson. I think the
Austin Jackson, people will say, is a whiff. Tua is, the talent is there, but can he stay healthy? And is the confidence there, which I think it is now more than it's ever been in his entire career. So, I mean, to me, that's still up in the air.
I mean, and I think it's a hit, but he's drafted Minka Fitzpatrick. That was a hit.
Who?
Minka, but we just traded him.
Minka Fitzpatrick was a hit. Yep.
Mike
and Flores screwed that up.
Gesicki
was a hit.
Baker
was a hit.
7th round, Jason Sanders.
Jason Sanders is the highest percentage field goal made of any Dolphins kicker ever, including a Lindo Mare. So that's a hit in theory.
I can't be mad at this guy. Jalen Waddle. Then Jalen Phillips.
Hit. Well, I already said him.
Javon Holland.
Hit.
Hunter Long. I mean, these are
Hunter
late
Long is not a hit yet.
But he's like down. He was in the 3rd round or whatever.
And Hunter Long's not even here anymore, so he's gone.
He's gone anyway. So yeah. So I mean, he's not terrible.
But now people are going to say, talk about the guys he didn't hit on.
But obviously,
Robert Hunt. You know, they're gonna tell, you know, Liam Eichenberg. They're gonna start asking you about those.
I know, but I'm talking about guys at
Jesse
least in the first or 2nd round. When you get to the 5th and 6th, I think those all
crapshoot anyway.
It's a crapshoot, bro. I'm talking about Xavier Howard was a 2nd round draft pick. Kenyon Drake was a 3rd round draft pick that we traded, and he was great. You know what I'm saying? So he's done.
Jordan, Charles Harris, 1, 2, 3, 4 episodes. Look.
I gotta give him love, bro. I gotta give Chris Greer love.
Here's my thought about Greer. I think Greer, if he could win a playoff game, minimum, would be a top 10 GM in this league.
He can draft talent compared to across the board.
He has. But I can't give him a top yet. I think he's 11 through 15 GM wise. He's somewhere 11 through 15 GM in the NFL.
Okay.
You can make an argument for 11th. You can make an argument for 15th. Anything 16 and above, there's no way in shape or form, in my opinion, that you can find 15 other people that are better than him. Or 16 anyway.
And the way he drafts and makes trade, he's building the franchise the right way, I think. And so I can't say he's done a way better job than the guys before. You know, I'm gonna give him that. So if he could just build us together, and we could really lock in with McDaniel, which I think is a great coach. Obviously, I met him at the Panthers arena. Is obviously full of wit and just young and full of energy. And so,
I love his flair. I think he's a player's coach. I think that players respond very well to him, and that's what we need now to talk about this year, though.
Mm-hmm.
We say all this about Greer.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't get to the AFC Championship game this year, minimum, in my opinion, you got to have some real internal conversations about where this regime is. And not just this regime, just in general about everything.
But it starts with Tua staying upright. We had a great chance to win in Buffalo, and I feel with Skyler. And if
we should have won with Skyler.
So we're rolling.
Here's some facts for you, DJ Genesis. If we had Vic Fangio last year as our defensive coordinator, which we should have had,
all right,
we would have won 2 more games than we did in the regular season, guaranteed. And we damn sure would have beat Buffalo in the playoffs.
Because there's some games where your defense has to win for you. The offense ain't gonna click every single night.
My personal opinion is we would have beat the Chargers and we would have beat Buffalo in the regular season, and we would have beat Buffalo last year in the playoffs had we had better defensive play calling.
Buffalo know we come. The whole AFC knows we're coming. Baltimore, it's just Tua has to stay upright. And Tyreek Hill said it, and I'm very intrigued to see how this comes out. He said a Dolphin fan should be excited because this is the second year that these guys are understanding the system.
Yeah,
everybody's comfortable. There's no excuses, Did
you see what happened in the preseason game last Friday? And I know people are saying it's preseason. By the way, Ravens finally lost that preseason wins.
I did see that last night.
Games.
I didn't see the Dolphins when I was out.
If you ever wanted regular season atmosphere in a preseason game, it was the last 5 minutes of that game last night. It was good. It was good.
Hey, Aikman and Buck didn't even know what to do. They were ready for their, talking about the weather and the season.
I know. To be fair, Aikman and Buck. I love Joe Buck in baseball, but Joe Buck in football with Aikman is horrible. Just personally putting that out there.
I mean, as long as
I like Buck in baseball, can't stand him in football.
That's where you got to start, right? Or did he start in baseball?
No, he started in baseball. His dad.
I know his dad was
one of the greatest play-by-play guys of all time in the history of baseball. Jack. All right. Now, I know that some of you probably disagree with us in some of these takes. It is Hot Take Tuesday, which means you guys, this is a show that's made for the fans by the fans. Which means if you guys want to debate us or have questions for us or want us to debate something that you guys have a topic about, now's your time to do it. DJ Genesis is going to be here for another 10 or 15 minutes, and then he's going to get out. And then I'm going to finish the show the rest of the day by going one-on-one, mano-y-mano for Hot Take Tuesday with you, the fans, on a different take. Whatever your take is, we'll go one-on-one with it. So I'm going to drop the link for the fans. You guys can come on. DJ Genesis is going to spend about another 10, 15 minutes with us, and then he's going to get out of here because he's got stuff to do today.
Got to ride out, man. There's cars coming out the shop. I'm excited. Miss my baby, Do
you have a name for your car? I got to know this, DJ Genesis. Man. And I'm going to tell you about mine, but you go first.
It's funny. I don't have one for this particular one because I just got her recently, so I haven't gotten that personal with her yet. I know I miss her already because she's been in the shop. I was out of town, came back. So I'm ready to pick. Yeah, of course. All
can't have a dude car.
No, not something. My boy's car's name was Bruce, but I know all machinery are women, So when they start acting up, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Got him. What's your car's name?
I don't have a name yet, but I used to have. I traded in my Honda, and her name was Rhonda. Rhonda the Honda.
Rhonda the Honda.
It was just one of those. It was corny.
I have a 2009 Hyundai Sonata.
Okay.
My grandmother passed away, and she left me a little bit of money. Right. And the money she left me, she said, because I was driving like this horrible, just a bad car. Okay. And my grandmother was not having it. So in her will, she said, I lie to you not. This money is specifically for Steven to buy a new car. Okay. So it was 2011. And I went to this Honda dealership, and there was a Hyundai on the lot. Only Hyundai on the lot, this Honda dealership. And it was a 2009 Hyundai Sonata. And I walk in, and I said, hey, I like that. And the sticker price on it was like $27,100. Stupid money, okay? No way I could afford that. And I said, that's priced a little too high. He's like, oh, we can get it down. Do you want to take it for a test drive? I'm like, screw it, I will. So I took it for a test drive. I was like, I can't pay that though. Like, I'm not going to do that. He's like, well, what do you want to pay? He's like, I got to be honest with you, man. I was looking to pay 10 grand. That was it. Like, just like, we're way off on this. I don't think this is going to happen. He's like, well, hold on. Let's see how far down I can get you. I know I can't get you to that. For the next 2.5 hours, we proceeded to go back and forth on like 4 different things. I came up to 13. And they got down to like 15.6 or 15.5. The owner of the car dealership was an Elvis impersonator. I am walking out after almost 3 hours of back and forth with this guy. Okay. I can haggle with the best of them. Okay. You're not going to wear me down. I'm going to wear you down. Okay. It was the 29th. It was the end of the month. And the 30th was the last day. And so I knew that I had everything going my way and I was paying in cash. Right. So he goes, I said, this is my final offer, 15, final offer. Okay, this is 2011. Because it was my destiny to have her. It was my destiny to have that car. I knew it was. I start walking out, and all of a sudden I hear in his Elvis impersonator voice, hey man, all right, look, you got the car, buddy. You got it. It's your car. I said tags, titles, fees out the door, right? He's like, you got it, man. And so, yeah, I have an Elvis impersonator close the deal of my car. So it was my destiny to have her. So my car's name was Destiny. I say all that to say this.
It wasn't blue suede shoes?
No, it was not. I say all that to say this.
Or Jailhouse Rock, how you robbed them.
I know, bro. 27.5 on the sticker. I walk it out for 15.
Jailhouse Rock for sure.
So it was great. And it's what, 2023, and my car Destiny just hit 150,000 miles.
Hey, you get a birthday clap for that.
She's on her last leg. She's seen better days.
Okay.
And I'm in the process of moving to Mississippi. And so as I'm telling my dad this, he's like, well, what are you going to do with Destiny? Because everybody knows the car's name is Destiny. And I was like, I don't know. I feel some type of way. He's like, Steven, that car's, it's done. Like, it's not going to make it. Give up. Okay. I'm like, Dad, this is Destiny we're talking about.
I got a question.
What?
If your grandma could write another will, would she say, leave you more money? Would she say, get a new car?
Because today? Yes, 100%. Like, not even close. Especially having a 9-year-old and 7-year-old in that backseat is, I know there's stuff growing in the backseat of that car now. Okay. Like, straight up. Like, it's bad. Okay. So
you're like, it's nostalgic. Your grandmother gave this to me.
I don't want to get rid of her. Right. But so my dad's like, you're selling the car, Steven. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm going to give you my 2019 Volkswagen Jetta. Wow. He's like, I will just give it to you. Please just get rid of Destiny. Like, dude. So I was like, well, all right. So
do you hold on to things, Steven? Do you hold on? Do you hold on to material?
I do, man. Dude, we've watched Hoarders. I am not Hoarder.
Okay.
But my wife likes to joke to me that, Steven, if I allowed you to, this would be you. And I'm like, no, I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. I don't have my drawings from the second grade somewhere in a box that's out here. I don't have my report cards from first, second, and third grade in kindergarten. That's not something I just looked up as I'm packing up the apartment to go to the house at all. I don't save things.
So you're not the guy, like, if you're moving, this is a perfect question. You're moving to Mississippi.
Which, by the way, sucks. I hate this whole moving process.
And the moving is the worst, bro. I remember my mom told me the next time she's moving is to heaven. I thought that was amazing. So she said, so you're moving. So this is the perfect time to know if you're a hoarder or not. Hoarding isn't just packing up the room. It's when you actually have to clear it out. When you look at something and say, no, I can still use this, when you know you good and well haven't used it for 5 years.
So my wife watches this show on Netflix, and my kids do too. And it's I forget what the name of it is, but it's this lady, and her job is to help people get rid of stuff that they're emotionally attached to. And you have to be like, thank you for your service. And so my wife's been like telling me, Steven, do you need this? Or do you? So this has been a process for like the last week of like, and I'm like, thank you for your service.
And you just don't.
Yes, I will donate this.
And you're about to be out.
My wife was so proud of me because I put a whole trash bag full of clothes, and she's like, I can't believe you got a whole trash bag full of clothes to donate. I was like, see, I do good things.
It's about growth, man. Especially when you're going to Mississippi, you want to go with some new stuff. You don't want to take the old things. You want to go in fresh and new. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. All right, let me bring in the first caller which is going to be your last call of the day, but we're going to be on for another hour today. So hit the like button, stay here. We're going to go one-on-one with me, but I'm going to bring on the first caller here, my man, Estefan. What's up, Estefan? It's been a minute, man.
What's up, Steven, man? You had me wanting to tell you about them Hondas, bro. You're lucky that you didn't get it stolen, man. If you don't get that update, they steal them in Texas, left and right. Like
they steal them in Texas? Boy, let me tell you.
Yes, sir. They have updates on those things and steering wheel locks for them mugs. So anyways, but that's a real vehicle on my icon, man. That's a Vikla. That's for real. For real. And it's dolphin colors.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah, man. I just want to say what's up, man. I mean, I know you said your dad's going to put. That's right. That's
Go ahead.
Right, damn it. Respect. No, I was going to say.
Personal. We don't hold it against them at all.
I made this correlation when I was a young kid, and it got even like more solidified when you told me that your dad's gonna put you in a Volkswagen. Steven, I love you, bro, but why do big people always want to drive little vehicles, bro? I don't understand that, man. Come on now.
You know what, Estefan? I swear jar you.
You can't lie, bro.
Swear jar you, Estefan. How dare you? You know what's funny about that? So I had to get a tow, like a car tow, because I got to be my dad down in North Carolina with the truck when we do the move, and then we're gonna put the car on like a car tow. And so I was like, "Well, give me the dimensions of the car." And he's like, "Well, this is what it is." I'm like, "Well, there's 3 different versions of this." And he's like, "Steven, it's small. It's all the same." And I started thinking to myself, I'm like, am I going to be like this in the car, like driving it? So,
hey, Steven, I got to head out, bro. I just showed up to work. I just want to drop in and say hi and tell everybody good luck to the Dolphins on the season and don't give up.
All day.
Love you, brother. Be good, man.
Appreciate that.
Man, I haven't heard. Estefan was like back in the day when this show was in its infancy. Estefan was on all the time. That's my man. That is my man, and he's a good guy. He's a good guy. All right, man. Give what you got going on. Tell the people where they can find you. I know you got to get out of here.
Hey, yes, guys, man. What I got going on? Just a lot of things, a lot of private things going on, man. I got a Bacardi event coming up. Food and wine tasting is coming up.
Bacardi event? Are you doing a Cardi B?
Bacardi. Bacardi events. Obviously, we're preparing for the Florida Panthers season. The dancers just finished getting picked. So obviously, I'm excited to see who the new rookies are, so I could put them through a bit of hazing. Now I'm joking. We don't do that. But we don't do that at all, you know. But now we're gonna have a lot of fun this season, so we're just getting prepared with that. Meeting with them, putting some new mixes. Actually, Steven, what I could do for the fans is some of the old mixes I used to use. If they're interested in that, we could definitely put it up for a link. They could download it. Have 16 minutes of energy, of some of that hockey energy. That you got.
People want some good workout music, and
exactly. Yeah, so I'll definitely send you that link. You can post it for the fans, and so that's what we got going on. You can find me on all platforms at I am DJ Genesis, and I'll be back. Hot Take Tuesday.
Next Hot Take Tuesday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, DJ Genesis, I love you, brother. Be good, man.
Appreciate you guys. I'm out.
Peace. All right, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. It is 11 Eastern Standard Time. Do you know where your children are? Do you? But do you, though? You guys don't remember that commercial, huh? Look, I hope you guys are doing well. I want to hear from you. A lot of stuff going on here, and for me, it is all about the Dolphins. So it is Hot Take Tuesday. Go one-on-one with me. If you have a question, put it in the chat. I'll give you my answer in a debate format. If you have a topic you want to debate me on, let's get up here. Let's talk about it. It is one-on-one, you versus me. Let's go. Hot Take Tuesday. All right, so the link is pinned to the top of the chat. I'll also drop it one more time for you guys. I need to get a few of y'all in here, and we'll get the train started. Steven, lucky the engine lasted that long. Manalo, hey, man, no doubt, bro. No doubt. 150,000 miles. It's seen better days, but I'm going to donate it to Cars for Kids. 1-800-7 Cars for Kids. 8887. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do to the car. I'm not, because I can't sell it. I just can't do it. Wake and Bake Clock Blockers, Finn's fans for life. Mark Angelo, the Godfather. Little Wake and Bake Clock Blockers over there on the West Coast. I got to remember you're 3 hours behind me, so it is like good morning to you right now. Where we on the East Coast, Mark, have been up and we've had our cups of coffee and we've been doing things, man. 150,000. You need to take better care of your car. Mark, you're no lies told there. No lies told there. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. I'm waiting for y'all to come up here and debate me, Hot Take Tuesday style. Let's get into what happened this morning. So there's a practice this morning. It was closed off, and let's go ahead and listen to some of the sound bites from this morning. And where are they at? Where are they at? I know that some people put up some sound bites. Some of the beat reporters put up some sound bites from this morning about the team and what's going on. So I'm just trying to find some of the sound bites here from them on social media. Here we go. So this is a 25-second sound clip from Vic Fangio on the hold-in of Christian Wilkins.
I wanted to ask you about Christian Wilkins holding in, your thoughts on that, and how much work does he need in the ramp up to the season?
Well, he had the first, I don't know the exact amount of days, but the first 2 weeks, we'll call it, he was partaking in all the training camp. He still does some stuff. So I feel good that whenever that's resolved, he'll be ready to go.
That sounds like somebody who might be a little upset that he's not there. But I hope that doesn't become bigger than what it is, but we'll have to see. Linebackers coach Anthony Campanelli discusses Andrew Van Ginkel's transition to inside linebacker. Let's listen in on this.
Gank's done a really good job. He's a good athlete. I said this to somebody before. So he moves really fluidly. So and he's really a detail guy. So he's been a lot of fun to work with, and he's a smart guy. So not many guys can transition from outside to inside, and he's done a really good job with that. So, and credit to Vic. I think he saw that in Gink and kind of felt like, hey, this could be something he transitions into.
Sorry, Mark. The biggest challenge for that particular transition would be, what is it, reacting?
I think just seeing it, when you're playing on the ball, things are happening, 6 inches in front of your face. And when you're off the ball, there's a lot that you got to take in, in a very short amount of time. There's a lot of communication. And visually, you have to see some things to be able to react in order to play physical, so that your physical skill set shows up. And Andrew's done a really, really good job with that. He's worked really, really hard at that. So in terms of seeing it, the run fits, and reacting in the pass game, he's certainly improved each day.
What are the differences?
Part of my thought process here for me is I think that Andrew Van Ginkel moving to inside linebacker is going to be very, very telling of what could happen with somebody like Channing Tindall, right? And so, and obviously Jerome Baker and stuff like that. Like I said at the beginning of the year when we first signed Fangio on as our defensive coordinator, that for me, I could see them running some 2 linebacker sets in the defense and having more people in the secondary. Which is why I'm very curious. I'm going to do a 53-man roster prediction. And I still think there's going to be more people in the secondary than there are in the middle of the backfield and the linebacking room. I'm excited to see what Gink is as a middle linebacker. And my hope is, look, there was a reason that the very first phone call Vic Fangio made as defensive coordinator was to Andrew Van Ginkel. Those are facts. He came on, first call was, we want to keep you here in Miami. I want you to stay here in Miami. He apparently had some other offers for some other teams, maybe even for more money, and he decided that he's going to stay here. And Vic Fangio is part of that. There's some other big reasons why that is too. But I'll tell you that Gink staying in Miami and being under Fangio and transitioning to inside linebacker is going to be fun to watch with a capital F. It's going to be so fun to watch. Let's see, what else do they have here? I want to make sure while I'm looking for this, I'm going to bring on the next caller, my man Sharif from the Bahamas. What's up, Sharif?
What's good, my man, Steven? What's good, man?
It's been a minute, man. How are you?
Well, it hasn't been a minute. I've been just keeping in touch with you. I appreciate you. Of course, going out to the events, inviting all of the Dolphins fans, and then having people. I thought it was fun having people come back up on the show and saying they met you, like Dougley the other day. Dougley said he's freaking tall, and when he came up to meet you, he's like, "Yeah, I was sitting down. I didn't even know you were that damn tall."
Yeah, man. Dougley is tall. He's very.
But I'm keeping always in touch. I'm at work. I can't just StreamYard like that anymore. But I'm always keeping you on while I'm at work. But I've been studying this team now for the past 3 years, and this is going to be a very difficult one cut. It's one cut down from 90 to 53, and this team being as it is, 46 spots, I think it would be safe to say, Steven, that is already in place. So 46 spots are already in place. You're cutting 7 down who's going to be fighting for those fringe 7, and then 16 spots on the practice squad. So I was trying to think of, like, which gems are we going to have to let go? Because you ain't just going to slip, Go ahead.
Let me interrupt you. I think you bring up a great point, Sharif. I think one of the things, and I mentioned this yesterday on the show, in years past, the NFL, when they did their roster cuts, they did it in stages. And they went from 90 to 85 to 80 to 75. And they brought it all the way down to eventually the final preseason game. You're getting to, obviously, the 53-man roster. So this year they're doing it very unconventional and very different, and they're going to see how it works. And I'm very interested to see how this works. Every team on August 30th will be cutting their teams down, or is it August 30th or August 29th? I'm sorry, August 29th. Will be cutting their teams down from 90 to 53, which I said yesterday was over 1,100 players going to get cut on Tuesday, which means that they're going to have to fall through waivers. And as long as they clear through waivers at that point, if they're not claimed, they then can get signed to another team, whether it's on their 53 or practice squad. So I'm going to break this down in a couple different forms. Number one, Sharif and fans, I need you all to realize over 1,100 players are going to be cut at one time. That has never happened in the NFL, and I think GMs in the scouting department are going to be on the phones all at the same time. I mean, I guarantee you, Chris Greer, Brandon Shore, even McDaniel and Fangio, in the afternoon on Tuesday when all this goes down, are going to be by the phones, and they're going to see over the next hour after that who got cut from what team and who do we want to put a bid on.
Don DeMarco.
Yeah, 100%. And so there's going to be plenty of players from all the other teams around the NFL that are going to get cut, where people are going to be like, "Hey, look, do we put a waiver claim on them? Do we try to get them to come over here?" And so for me, there's going to be surprise cuts around the NFL. Are they going to happen in positions of need? One of the things I think that the Dolphins are doing, and why they haven't necessarily addressed maybe more depth at the offensive line, or maybe they haven't addressed maybe one additional piece in the running back room, or whatever it may be, or adding or providing more depth to the tight end, or whatever, is they want to see who gets cut on that day. So there might be guys that make the 53-man roster that 2 hours later after it's announced, they're cut because they like somebody and they got them on waivers. And, and I say 2 hours, 24 hours later that are cut even after making the 53 because there's somebody that, they wanted that works out better for this squad. The other thing that allows teams to do is have players fall through the cracks a little bit more. So we talk about a guy like Christopher Brooks, who I think is very well liked within this fan base, and I think the coaches like him too. Maybe he doesn't make the 53, but Christopher Brooks might be somebody that doesn't see as much playing time as we might think on Saturday, because we don't want him to put up good numbers and we want him to fall through the cracks, and we hope that he'll come back and be on our practice squad and we can keep him on our practice squad.
That's a great point.
So and that's a theory. Do I know that's the case? No. Do I think he's going to see a significant amount of playing time? I do. But I need y'all to think there's going to be mind games worked out over the next week. There's going to be, do we like this play? I'll tell you who will get showcased the hell out of this Saturday. Cedric Wilson. Cedric Wilson will get so much playing time in this third preseason game and will get showcased to the NFL saying, come get me. I'm available for trade. And I think that the scouting department needs to be looking out to all these other games and saying, who are, these positions of need. Nose tackle, CCRR just said in the chat. That's another position of need, right? The Dolphins and the rest of the NFL, for that matter, it's going to be fun and very interesting to see how this next 10 days works out, because actually 7 days works out, because the next 7 days, the NFL is going to be busy, and probably more busy than they've ever been. And this has never happened. So I think that Tuesday is going to be, next Tuesday is going to be crazy in the NFL. It's going to be insane. Next Tuesday and Wednesday will be absolutely asinine in the NFL. Here's the other thing. Tuesday morning, teams that might have a guy on a bubble or could be cap casualty. The one thing we haven't seen yet so far this preseason that has never happened this late in the preseason in the NFL? No trades. No trades have happened in the NFL in the last since training camp has started.
Which is why I believe you brought up a great point. When it comes to showcasing, if you know there's going to be one cut down for every team from 90 to 53, then it's time to showcase if you're Chris Greer from a business standpoint. Okay, a lot of people have been saying, why is Chosen on the side of Waddle? Maybe Chosen knows the playbook and doesn't need any run, or maybe you don't need to showcase him. He only makes $1 million, but you're planning on trading him. Same thing with Jeff Wilson. Why are you playing?
I'll push back just a little bit, Sharif, and I'll say anybody they're planning on trading is going to get a significant amount of playing time because they want to showcase them.
And so this is why Ogba said, I don't know why they're playing me, but hey, I need to play. But the thing is, you can't, whether we want to keep 5, and I know we don't want to go all over the place, but 5 running backs, we're not going to keep 5. Engel is 1. So in addition, if you keep 3 tight ends, Croft can now play backup to Engel. So you're going to keep 4 just to try to keep 5 running backs so you can keep 6 wide. I don't think this is going to work out. Continue.
Yeah, look, I think that it'll be very interesting to see how those I agree with you. I think the last 7 spots on the roster are going to be very interesting to see, not only for the Miami Dolphins, but the rest of the NFL, right? I think most teams understand who their first 45 players are probably going to be, and it's that last 7 or 8 where they're like, okay, who's here? And then there's probably going to be 2 or 3 players that they know, hey, look, if we lose this guy, it's not the end of the world, because we're going to expect maybe. I'm almost ready to guarantee. I don't know if I want to say it, but I'm almost ready to guarantee that there will be a 53-man roster, and at least 1, if not 2 players that make that initial 53 will be dropped in the next 24 hours after that 53 is released, because they are picking up or trading for somebody from another team. 100%.
I agree. That's how it have to be. And play around with this, Stephen. Neil Driscoll and myself, we did the breakdown of what will happen if you sign Christian Wilkins,
Yep.
right? And you also give Jonathan Taylor 14 million. You restructure Ramsey, which will happen, and you restructure X. The only person you would have to get rid of next year, you'll actually be able to keep Ogba at 20 million. You'd only have to get rid of Baker, and you'd still save 32 million because the 18.5 will kick in next year of TV deals, and you'd have 32 million along with Jonathan Taylor and Christian Wilkins. So play with that a little bit, Steve. What's your opinion on that?
In regards to which specific player?
If you keep Christian,
yep,
you'd move him from 10 million in his first 13. I think it would be 13 million if you sign him, and then his big money would kick in next year. That'll enable you to restructure X and Ramsey to get 32 million under the cap next year, along with the TV deal. You'd be able to have Jonathan Taylor, pay him 14 million and still have 32 million.
So I said that tweet that Neil Driscoll said. I shouted out Neil and his tweet, and it was a great tweet.
He and I was actually in a space, and we broke that down.
I also think, Sharif, that part of what you hear, what you understand, what you need to understand from that tweet as well is that only breaks the Dolphins even for next year. It doesn't even put us in the green or in the black. Where the Dolphins need look, I'm telling y'all right now, I'm not a betting man. I haven't bet since August 13th, 2017. But let me tell you right now, if I was a betting man, I would bet that the Dolphins don't make that trade for Jonathan Taylor because two reasons. Devon A-Chain, number one, first and foremost. They got a lot of they think this kid's going to be good. There's a lot about this kid they love. And
then you would save 46 million, Stephen, and you would just keep Christian Wilkins and sign him into his new deal that would kick in next year. So you'd have 46 million next year without Jonathan Taylor. Your thoughts?
I can't tell you why there hasn't been restructures or extensions signed for Seiler, Wilkins, so on and so forth. My personal opinion is you take care of your own. And the Dolphins have yet to take care of their own in certain situations. And I think that could come back and bite them in the butt down the road, because what Dolphins players want to see is this team going to take care of me?
So with taking care of Christian, Stephen, you've taken care of no, you've taken care of the math is done. You've taken care of Christian. You saved 46 million.
They haven't done it yet, though, Sharif. They have not done it yet.
So if you cut Baker, who would make 24.5 million next year.
Are you talking next year?
Yes,
well, I don't want to talk about next year, Sharif, because I'm focused on this year.
Well, if Christian Wilkins gives you 7 sacks this year, Stephen, will you give him 18 to 22?
I'm going to tell you right now, if Christian doesn't get an extension this offseason, the Dolphins, he's going to be pissed at the Dolphins, and he'll play this year, and he'll be like, I want to do free agency next year. And
will he give you 7 sacks?
Over?
Yes.
If I had to bet, he probably, I think the over of 7 would hit.
Okay, so that means you would have done 1 year of what Chris Jones and others in the top 5 have done several years. This would be your first year of doing it. Would you give him 18 to 22? I want to keep him. Would you?
I've said clearly on the show on multiple occasions, 19 is probably, I don't know if I want to get to the 2-0.
Because he's overall top 10 because of his less sacks. Yes, run stopping, 100 tackles, 70 run stops behind the line of scrimmage, but you're worth top 10 money, Christian. So if you get your sacks this year, we would give you 19. Agreed, Stephen? He's going to be mad by then.
I do, but Sharif, you also have to realize, I think there's 6 other players on this roster that are making 20 million or more next year. And again, I don't want to talk about next year, but the Dolphins have to think about that when they're in the process of negotiating a restructured deal with Agba or with Wilkins. And by the way, you still have a guy in the same room who wants a new contract too, and Zach Seiler. So the Dolphins.
It's not a problem, Steven. Okay, that's why a lot of Dolphins are panicking this fine.
I'm not panicking, and I'm not saying the Dolphins didn't put themselves there on their own free will. They did. This is their own doing. And I'm not saying it's a bad or a good thing. I'm telling you, if they play this the wrong way, it will come back to bite them in the butt.
Oh, I agree. I fully agree.
Now, they are more worried about how can we win this year with the current structure that they have. If I'm correct, they probably have $7 to $8 million currently in cap space, maybe 9. But I think it's like 7 or 8.
Don't count that, because that we're not paying anyone in another team. So that is actually dead money to who's on the team, which is a great thing. So
but we want more.
But why is that?
And the only real way to free up more, in my opinion,
would be just to directly release at this point, because we are not paying anyone on another team. We're not paying Laramie anymore.
The Dolphins need to hope for a trade for certain players.
This is why I think
Cedric Wilson Jr., because if he gets traded, that's $7 million.
This is why I tell Dolphin fans
you go from $7 million to $8 million in salary cap to 14 or 15 in salary cap.
Right.
Now, but this is all of a sudden you're free to do other things for this year.
But this is why I tell Dolphin fans
are only worried about this year right now. They want to win a Super Bowl this year, Sharif.
Right. So if you're trying to sign someone maybe for injury by week 6, that's fine. But if you want dreams and superstars, you're not going to get it, fans. But this is why Chris Greer sat down. I don't know if you remember the first press conference, Stephen. He sat down with Flores. He wants this team to be good for a long period of time. He wants draft picks for a long period of time.
With Flores,
yes,
that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
3 years ago. His point is
we are now 3 years later.
Right. And so I'm getting to that right now. So the thing is, Stephen, if you know all you have to do is restructure Ramsey and X, and all you have to do is cut Baker, who will make 24.5 next year, then the Seilers of the world, the people who you want signed, there's their money, $46 million. New TV deal kicks in, and you get to sign Christian and save money to get you to 46. What's the problem?
There's not a problem. The Dolphins, Greer's and Shore are probably thinking about next year to a certain extent.
You can easily keep Christian and save 46.
I'm not arguing with you on that.
No, I know.
You're not getting an argument from me on that, dude. What I am telling you is that the Dolphins are worried about how can they free up more cap space this year. And that's where their minds currently are, with 7 days left to the 53-man roster cut. And there's only a couple of ways they can do that. They can restructure a couple of people and hope that they can extend them out. But again, as we've said with that, all you're doing is kicking the can down the road.
I'm pulling up Spotrac. Well, Robbie makes 1.1. Jeff makes 1. Cedric is making 7 with 4 guaranteed. So only 3 you'd be saving by cutting him. So
we're nickeling and diming here. Come on, Sharif.
Yeah.
We're not nickeling and diming here.
So
Sharif, I got other people in the back room. I can't argue with you no more. You're driving me crazy, man. I miss you, but you're driving me mad. I was thinking you were going to come up here and talk about the O-line for the 30 millionth time and what you thought about that. I was ready to have that conversation with you, Sharif.
Well, what is so ironic about this before I go is, Greer, you freaking could have had Jonathan with the 21st pick, but you went and got Noah, and you could have had your Caesar a week. Hey, I'm gonna end with that. We shouldn't even. By the way, Colts, Irsay has already screwed everything up. I need a first if you want Wilkins and Jonathan Taylor. You're not just gonna. Value of running backs have gone down, Steven. You're gonna have to give me a first for Christian and Jonathan Taylor. Thank you.
All right, brother. Be good, man. Appreciate it, Sharif. Sharif, you worked me out there, man. Look, here's I got somebody in the back room. I'm gonna bring him on here in a second. The Dolphins have a lot of different options here, but it's how they play this thing and moving forward. I'm telling y'all right now, the Jonathan Taylor thing is not going to come to fruition. Just not. Get it out of your heads. I do not think Jonathan Taylor will be a Miami Dolphin. It is a 0.01% chance, in my opinion, of that happening. There's a chance, but it's like 0.01. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. Yes, I'm saying there's a chance, but it's a small one, a very minute, minuscule one. The Dolphins are not worried about that right now. The Dolphins, if they wanted a running back, could A, go on and get a Kareem Hunt or Leonard Fournette. B, they even if they like Jonathan Taylor, they're going to wait 7 days to see who gets cut in the NFL. We talk all the time about how running backs are, disrespected in this league. You don't think there's going to be a decent running back that gets cut in 7 days? And the most important thing out of all this from the running back room is they love Devon A-Chain. The Dolphins are in love with A-Chain. They have a crush on A-Chain. A-Chain is that, this girl, she can be something now. Like, she might be the one. The Dolphins think A-Chain can be the one. Okay? They think that. Mark my words, they do. And as long as he's healthy, they're not going to go after Jonathan Taylor. Now, I will say this. If somebody gets hurt in the next week, God forbid, knock on wood, I'm knocking on wood right now, the Miami Dolphins will definitely be picking up the phone for Jonathan Taylor. But as long as they stay healthy, that's not going to happen. It's just not. Now, as far as the contract restructures and the extension stuff is concerned, I still am scratching my head why that is not done already. Especially with 7 days leading up to this 90 to 53 man cut. You want to have as much money as you can to get the players that you want in here. Let's say there's 2 or 3 people that would definitely make your team better, but they cost a total of $12 million or hell, we'll say even 8. You're screwed yourself because you haven't gotten more cap space, more cap relief. If I had to guess, if the Dolphins are going to do anything with Christian Wilkins, it's going to happen in the next 5 to 6 days. And I hope way sooner than that. Because if it does not happen in the next 5 days, it's not going to get, if it doesn't happen before the 53-man cut, it's just not going to happen. Just not going to happen this year. Get it out of your heads. I don't see it happening this year if it's not done by cut day on Tuesday. The other thing is, if it does happen, do you go to other do you go to other players that could potentially do that? They are going to showcase the hell out of Cedric Wilson. They are going to showcase the hell out of a couple of other players on this team. For the simple fact that if a team calls and says, hey, look, is this person available? Hey, let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. And I guarantee you, and I think somebody just said this a little bit ago in the chat, and I agree with it. There is guaranteed that there will be 1 to 2 players cut from this Dolphins team that will make us be like, what? Who? Why? There will be at least 1 to 2 players that the Dolphins will cut to get down to 53 where we're going to be like, didn't see that coming. So I'm telling y'all right now, just watch. Like it's going to go down. It's going to go down. All right, let me bring on EM Baller. What's up, EM Baller? Good morning, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing?
I'm pretty good, man. What do you want to talk about this morning? Hot Take Tuesday.
All right. Well, I was going to bring up the Jonathan Taylor stuff. I agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen. And my question is, how many times is a team going to extend, pay big money and give a long-term deal to a contract to a running back before they either trade him, tell him to get ask him to get a pay cut, or just release him? It hasn't worked out in recent
memory. The answer to that is I think a running back gets an opportunity for one big payday after their rookie deal, and they have to do great on their rookie deal, right? There are very few running backs around the league that get an opportunity to get a big payday their second time around, aka what Dalvin Cook's doing or just did, right? And even he didn't do it. He signed a 1-year deal with the Jets. It goes back, EM, to the disrespect that running backs get in the NFL. And for the NFL or teams in the NFL, they look at a running back and they look at somebody. Let's look at Dalvin Cook, not from a Dolphins standpoint, but other teams, because Dalvin Cook would have been an asset to most other teams around the NFL. But most teams are saying, well, he's 28 years old. He's got a lot of miles on him. He's been hit a lot, and teams also know the same thing that we know, that you don't need a bell cow running back to win a Super Bowl. You need a good running back room to win a Super Bowl, but you don't need a bell cow.
Yeah, because when you look at the teams that won the Super Bowl recently, they haven't made a lot of money. Like, I think I saw the stat. Like the last
10 years, there's only been 3 players to make more than $1 million, maybe 4.
Yes, and I think that in like the last 15 seasons, or maybe 10, it was 10. I think the highest paid leading rusher for a Super Bowl team was, I think, Percy Harvin, and he was a wide receiver. So
yeah, he wasn't even a running back.
Exactly. And he was the leading rusher on a Super Bowl team. So that just proves to you, and guys like Isaac Pacheco, Elijah Mitchell, like you can, even Mostert, you can find very productive running games. You can have a top 5 running game without having that bell cow running back and paying them a lot of money.
Now here's the Realist Miami Dolphins YouTube channel just said, I think people forgot how good Jonathan Taylor is because he didn't play last year. Fair point. But mind you, again, he's still a running back. And because he's a running back, he's still going to be overlooked in some situations, or they're not going to. The fact that Indianapolis is saying we want a first-round pick for him is crazy. They should shut their mouths and see what what people are going to give. And then after that, go and say, hey, look, we're being offered 3rd-round picks, but we're not going to give him up for anything less than a first round. We'll keep him here and he'll be upset, but he's not worth anything less than a first round. And then teams at that point can say, well, we either need a running back or we don't. The Dolphins are not going to be that team. They're just not. Get it out of your head. It's not going to happen.
And my thing is, why don't we roll the dice and assume that the Colts are going to want, a lot of assets for him, and we can just, Jonathan Taylor's not going to return. We can just get him in free agency if we wanted to. Assuming that another team doesn't trade for him, but I'm willing to roll the dice for that.
I think, you got to remember, whatever team ends up trading for Jonathan Taylor is going to sign him to a long-term deal. They'd be.
I know, so that's why I think it would be. It's not everyone saying, "Oh, who's going to trade for Jonathan Taylor? Who's going to get him soon?" Like, I don't think. Now, Jonathan Taylor's a top 3 running back, and there's a market for him, but there's not a big market for him.
I am not trading
because of the position.
As a GM in the NFL, Ian Baller, I am not trading for Jonathan Taylor unless I can speak to him and say, if I trade for you, you're going to sign an extension here for 4 years, right? And as his answer is not anything but yes, I'll do it. But if his answer is no, I'm not making that trade. I need a guarantee that you're going to. I need to negotiate. Need you to sign on the dotted line. I need permission from the NFL to allow you to sign on the dotted line before I make this trade, which has happened in the past. So, look, the NFL and him can work all that out. But I'm telling you right now, the Colts are probably unlike Dalvin with the Vikings. The Colts have the upper hand in this situation, but they are allowing him the ability to seek a trade the same way Tyreek was able to seek a trade. And that's big. That's big. And again, I still think the X factor for why the Dolphins haven't made a trade or done anything is because Devon A-Chain. They love that kid and they think he's going to be big.
Not only do they love him, but they love Mostert and Ahmed. We saw what Ahmed did.
No, but Mostert and
Isaiah Wynn at left guard.
Moser and Ahmed, they would. I'm gonna tell you, if A-Chain wasn't here, Dalvin would be a Dolphin. There's no doubt in my mind that Dalvin Cook would be
I think they would have. I don't know if he would have been a Dolphin, but I do think they would have offered him a little bit more than they initially did. But yes, because of A-Chain.
Right now, Dalvin would have been a Miami Dolphin if Devon A-Chain wasn't here. Guaranteed.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, Jets could have upped their offer. I mean, like Chris Greer. Chris Greer values running back, but he's not going to overpay for running back.
All the Dolphins had to do, Ian Baller, was give him something that was respectable, and they didn't.
I know they didn't, and a reason for that was because of A-Chain, but also a reason is because Greer understands what the running back position value is right now, and it's not great. And that's unfortunate for running backs, but it's the truth because it's an interchangeable position.
I got to be real with you, Ian Baller. I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think it had to do with, this is what I got to offer you right now because I am balling on a budget. You can come here for this, and this is all I can give you. Like he knows that he's worth more than what he offered him. He knows that, but he couldn't.
Yeah, but I also Right, but I also believe that if A-Chain, let's say, was drafted before we picked at 81, I do believe we would have gotten a running back. I don't think, either in the draft or right after the draft. Like, I don't think we would have sat in our hands and then waited for Dalvin Cook.
Jets gang, I see your little comment there. Cedric Wilson was signed before we ever got Tyreek Hill, and it was under the assumption that he would have been the two here minimum, and that's what they were doing. They were gambling on an upside. They paid more money because they liked what he had and what he did as the number 3 or 4 in Dallas, and they thought that his ceiling was higher than what it was. And to be fair, it probably could have been if Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle weren't here, but Jalen was here.
But I don't think that's the only reason. I also think the reason is that he got beat up by Trent Sherfield and River Craycraft. Like, 100%. Come on.
100%. And if I'm the Dolphins, Cedric Wilson is playing every snap on Saturday night. Playing every snap. And I hope he gets over 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns. I
hope so, too. I hope we trade him, but if we don't trade him, then we're going to have to keep him as our last wide receiver.
I pray on everything that Cedric Wilson has a career preseason game on Saturday night, over 100 yards receiving and 2 tutties. And then I hope Chris Greer's phone is ringing off the hook come Sunday. Hey, you know that Cedric Wilson fella you got there? You want to get rid of him? Yes. Okay. Well, we're willing to offer you, X, Y, and Z. So, my hope. I have one hope for Saturday. I have 2 hopes for Saturday. Stay healthy as a team. Don't want any injuries. And I hope Cedric Wilson goes off.
I hope he goes off too, because I want to keep River Craycraft and
River Craycraft is not going anywhere. That is Mike McDaniel's boy. I don't why people.
I know he's Mike McDaniel's boy, and I like him, but
I told Omar Kelly this. I told everybody this. River Craycraft would probably not be on any NFL roster, to be perfectly fair. I'm not saying his talent's not there, but he would have been overlooked because of his size, right? He never would have gotten that opportunity. Craycraft will make the 53, you all. Listen to my words. River Craycraft will make the 53. He will.
Okay, but I think I want him to make the 53, but who's he gonna make it over? The only other person I could see is Robbie Chosen. Do you think he makes the team?
So here's my thought process on this, right? So Eric Ezukama is still a coin flip for me because I know he had a good game.
I think he makes the team. I think he's a lock. They can do so much different things with him. Mike McDaniel is going to get creative.
You can say he's a lock, but here's the reality of the situation. We saw this movie last preseason. Oh my God, Eric Ezukama, he's this, oh my God, he's gonna be great, he's gonna be amazing. What did he
I never said that.
Most people did.
I know, but if you look at how Texas Tech plays and how they throw picture cards at them, I was like, this is going to be a 2 or 3 year process.
I'm basing that off of last season's preseason. He balled out last preseason.
I know that he balled out, but it was a vanilla offense,
I
everyone
agree with you.
he's amazing in a vanilla offense. But if he can learn this offense, then I think he will be a dynamic weapon.
That right there lies in the question. If he can learn the offense, if he has learned the offense.
Yes, that's a big question. I agree.
And so I'm not saying that they've run some pretty vanilla offenses. They've run more of what's in their playbook because it's already on tape from last year. But to be fair, they're still not giving everything to everybody, right? So I am not buying stock on Eric Ezukanma until I see it in the preseason. Until I see it in the regular season. Because as far as I'm concerned, I've seen the same song and dance last year. Fool me once, shame on you, shame on me. Fool me twice, can't be fooled again. Okay? Like you need to show me. You're not going to fool me. A-Chain, you can fool me with, which, by the way, I don't think I'm going to be fooled. I think I'm going to be very happy with that. But you're not going to get me with Eric Ezukanma. Now, as far as what I was saying about the wide receiver room, if I'm looking around, I think that the Dolphins, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Braxton Berrios, Robbie Chosen, River Craycraft all make this team. That's 5 right there. Your 6 and 7 are Cedric Wilson and Eric Ezukanma. In a perfect world, the Dolphins would want to keep 6 wide receivers, and they would move Kiki Kuti, Braylon Sanders, and Dawood Davis to the practice squad. Eric Ezukanma, if they believe in him, will make this team on the 53. And I think they'll keep 7 if they can't trade Cedric. The goal for the Dolphins over the next week is to trade Cedric Wilson for multiple reasons. Number 1, it gives them $7 million on the books, an extra 7. Number 2, it gives them an extra roster spot that they don't have to give up to somebody else. And number 3, you're paying them $7 million to sit on the bench and do absolutely nothing.
All right, here's
Craycraft is making this squad. Eric Ezukanma will be the 6. And you got to hope Cedric Wilson gets traded. But if Cedric doesn't, I don't see Eric Ezukanma. Everybody's sitting here saying River Craycraft to the practice squad.
No,
they're not. That is McDaniel's boy. I'm telling you right now, Craycraft is McDaniel's boy. There is no way Craycraft goes to the practice squad. I don't believe it. Until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. I just don't.
All right, and real quick, here's my 6. Obviously, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Braxton Berrios, and I'm going to say Eric Ezukanma. I'm going to say River Craycraft. I think, was that 6 or 5?
That was 5. You still haven't said Robbie Chosen's name.
No, because I think Robbie Chosen is a bubble guy. I think they keep 6, and I think if they don't trade Cedric Wilson, he's the 6. If they are able to trade him, obviously Robbie Chosen is going to be the 6. I think Robbie Chosen is the bubble guy. You think Eazy-E is the bubble guy, so we'll see.
There is no way, shape, or form that the Miami Dolphins have Robbie Chosen as a bubble guy. Robbie Chosen is a lock to make the 53-man roster.
I don't think so. He hasn't done anything in like 3 or 4 years. So I'm not saying gonna be saying he's a lock when he's a similar guy to what we already have.
I'm just telling you now. They like him. They like him.
I think they like him. I don't think they love him. I think they love Eazy-E though.
I don't know, man.
It'll be tough because we're gonna have to make a lot of tough roster cuts.
I'm gonna disagree with you. I'm telling you right now.
That's fair.
Six wide receivers guaranteed to make this roster.
I agree. 6. I don't think 7.
And a 7th if Cedric is still here.
That's going to be tough, but we'll see. I mean,
there's no way. I just want you to hear it from me. You don't have to agree with me. River Craycraft is McDaniel's boy. He's not going to put him on the practice squad.
I agree with that.
Okay. And there's no way Eric Ezukanma is going to fall through waivers. He's going to be on a 53 somewhere. He's not going to be on a practice squad. You think Eric Ezukanma is going to just all of a sudden clear waivers so the Dolphins I'm telling you, the rest of the NFL knows about Eric Ezukama.
And that's why the Dolphins don't want to get rid of him.
And
that's
I
why the Dolphins
agree,
want to keep
which is
him.
part of the reason I say 7, even if Cedric is here. If Cedric's not here, then it goes to 6, and Ezukama's fine.
All right, so there's 7 wide receivers, and obviously we got a fullback, so it's going to be and we're going to keep 3 quarterbacks, so it's going to be interesting to see what we do with the other positions.
They will keep 3 quarterbacks. That will happen, yes.
Yeah, most teams will keep 3 quarterbacks with the new rules.
100% they will. Yeah, 100% they will. Now, what I'm excited to see is other teams' cuts. Tuesday's going to be a fun day around the NFL.
Oh, it will, because there's going to be a lot of coaching.
This Tuesday is going to be fun because the whole day we're just going to be like, oh, this person got cut. Oh, this person got cut. And I'm going to look at nose tackles, running backs, tight ends, and offensive linemen. I'm going to look for those 4 positions. Who gets cut out of those 4 positions? Is there anybody that is cap friendly that that the Dolphins can go and try to sign them to? And the hope between now and Tuesday is you restructure Wilkins, make it friendly for us this year, and if you can figure out a way to trade Cedric too, oh my God, you can save some money in the next week. And then all of a sudden, if you have over $15 million come next Tuesday, it's going to be a fun day for the Dolphins, because they're going to be like, all right, who got cut? Let's go. We're going to the buffet. We'll take him. We'll take him. You know what? Just we'll take a little bit of him too.
We're really going to be poaching that many people from other people's leftovers. Like, I think we're going to maybe get a couple of
Dolphins. If the Dolphins restructure and make it team friendly for Wilkins, make it team friendly for us this year with Wilkins, and notice I say and they find a way to trade Cedric, which I think is very unlikely, to be perfectly honest with you. But if he balls out, anything's possible. And they can find a way to get over $15 million in cap space between now and Tuesday, I guarantee you there'll be at least 2, if not 3 players the Dolphins poach from cuts. Guaranteed. Freaking-teed. But they have to have about $15 million in cap space in order for them to do it.
And I got a hot take for Hot Take Tuesday. If it wasn't for Robert, I think Robert Jones is going to get on IR once he makes it 53. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that's
because he'll miss. Because if he gets placed on IR once he makes it 53, he'll miss the first 4 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. If it wasn't for Robert Jones's injury and him possibly being placed on IR, I think we got plenty of O-line depth. But because of that, yeah, I agree. We should look for at least one more O-line piece. But I think we're pretty solid on O-line depth from what other people are saying, because a lot of people in the fan base are saying that we really need a lot of O-line depth. I think we're pretty solid there, to be honest. I know, the crickets. My only concern on the O-line is backup right tackle.
Neon Baller, listen. Did you just say that the Dolphins are good at depth at the offensive line?
Not well with Robert Jones's injury. I would say add one more. Add one more.
Did you just say that?
Yes, I did. But we could add one more though.
Bro, I love you. You're my guy. That's the craziest take you've ever had in your life.
The only thing that we need a backup in is right tackle, because I don't know about Cedric.
The Dolphins in no way, shape, or form are good at depth on the offensive line.
We're good at depth at left tackle, left guard, well, both guard spots.
I'm gonna
center.
Hey, y'all. Hey, look. Listen to me. Just listen.
Okay.
We are one injury away, aka Teron Armstead. One injury away from this being, excuse my language, I'm about to cuss for people at work, a complete shit show on the offensive line.
I disagree. I think Kendall Lamb is obviously not Teron Armstead, but Kendall Lamb could be a solid starter until Teron Armstead comes back if he misses a few games, which
if he
hope he
misses
doesn't
a
miss more
few
than that.
games, yes. Here's the thing: I've already committed to myself that Teron Armstead's going to miss 3 to 4 games. I do. I have it in my mind.
Okay. 5 plus.
But if he's out for an extended period of time, 5 weeks or more.
No, I agree with that. But I'm saying if he misses 3 or 4 games, then I think we're fine at left tackle with Kendall Lamb.
Yeah, as a plug and play, yes, you are probably correct with that statement.
Right.
But if he goes down for extended period and he's out for the year, or only plays 8 games or any of that bullshit, the Dolphins are screwed. I'm telling you right now, the success of the
I agree, because Kendall Lamb is a good left tackle and a pitch.
Hinges upon the success of Teron Armstead. People
I
can
agree.
argue with me. They can debate with me all they want. That's how I personally see it. And the only
that's obvious, because one guy can, obviously Teron Armstead only plays one online position, but that one elite level guy
better.
He makes everyone better.
Confidence. He gives everybody more confidence. He's a coach on the field. He makes that offensive line better. Now,
I agree.
Now, with that being said, I don't think that we're good at the depth, because we're one position away from it being bad. And we don't, I'm going to be real with you. Do we have a true center? I don't think we do.
I mean, I know y'all don't like Connor Williams and his snapping, but I think
hey, I'm going to tell you right now,
he's getting the rust ready for the regular season. He's getting the rust
damn well better, but I'm telling you right now, okay. So God forbid Teron goes down. We don't have anybody that can replace him long term. There's one. We don't have a true center. There's 2. And if there's any other injury that happens on the O-line to the starters and the replacements got to come in, who the hell is coming in behind them to fill in? Don't worry, I'll wait. The Dolphins need to at least, if they can get about $15 million in cap space, I guarantee you there'll be at least one player that falls through the cracks that's better than any of the backups that currently are on our roster right now. I'll say it again. If we can get about $15 million cap space, I'm not saying we're going to use the $15 million on this one guy. I am just saying they need to have that so that they can maneuver and do some things. If they can do that, there's at least one player who will be cut on Tuesday from an offensive line that the Dolphins should desperately go out and get and say, hey, come here. We'd love to have you here in Miami.
Sure, for depth, I agree.
Any of the backups that they currently have.
I don't know. I like Lester Cotton as a backup guard, and I like Lamb as a backup swing tackle, but obviously he's better at left tackle than right tackle, so keep Austin Jackson at right tackle. And Dan Feeney can play center and guard.
I'm not sold on Dan. You want me to put my faith in a jet that struggled for 2 years?
I mean, that's fair.
Hey, I like Mike White. I do, but I ain't putting my faith in him that he can carry this team long term. There is, and the same thing with Robbie Chosen. I think Robbie Chosen's a great number 3, but that's about it.
Nah, Barrios is a great number 3. I don't know about Chosen.
Here's the other problem with all this too. Forget the offensive line for a minute, okay? Forget the O-line for a second. The other reason why I think there's going to be at least 2 or 3 people that are signed from cuts from other teams on the cut day on Tuesday is because our special teams is straight trash. The Dolphins need to go get players of equal value of people that are currently on the roster at their positions that are significantly better on special teams. Our special teams is atrocious. It's bad. And we can lose some games how bad they are. Just telling y'all. Just telling you.
And I agree. If the Dolphins start poaching, it'll be for special teams most likely.
Well, I mean, and that might come from a running back room, right? You know, that might come that might come from a tight end room. That might come from a linebacker room or the secondary, maybe somebody on the back end of the secondary that we think should make the team, but sucks on special teams, all of a sudden they're saying, hey, look, this guy's just as good as the, number 9 in the secondary, but he's 10 times better than any of the special teams players.
What are your thoughts on Elijah Campbell being the other starting safety? Because I know he's a good gunner, but I want him to be a starting safety as well.
Elijah Campbell's making this team, and I think
of course, as a gunner,
absolutely love the kid, love him. I can't say enough good things about Elijah Campbell. Love him. I'm just telling you right now, the Dolphins need to go get depth at O-line. They need to go get depth on the back end of some of these rooms so that there's better special teams guys, because right now, man, I'm not confident. Anybody with a decent return specialist in the NFL is going to kill our special teams.
But I think that's mostly on the coaching. I don't know why we kept Danny Crossman. That's a mistake on Mike McDaniel. I love Mike McDaniel, but that's a mistake.
They were quick, and look, I'm not critical. I'm not very critical of McDaniel. Okay,
Me neither. I love every coaching move he's made so far, aside from.
I'm not going to say every. I'm not going to say every coaching decision, but
okay, retaining Boyer. Okay,
but I'm also going to. Well, he didn't want Boyer in the first place. Let's be real about that. He wanted.
Yeah, right. You're right. He was kind of forced to keep in. I get it.
Yeah, he wanted to bring in Fangio last year. The Greer said we're going to keep Boyer 1 year. We're going to see how that works out. That was a mistake on Boyer. On Greer for allowing that bullshit to happen.
Right.
Now, with all that being said, the Dolphins, McDaniel, forget the Dolphins, McDaniel. He's a first-time head coach. I can deal with the learning curve of first-time head coach. I can deal with some of that. Okay? How the hell do you get rid of Matt Applebaum and not get rid of Danny Crossman?
I actually don't mind them getting rid of Matt Applebaum because from what I've been hearing,
I agree with you. I think they should have gotten rid of him. My statement is catered towards you were able to see that Applebaum was a problem and replaced him, but you don't see the worst ranked team in special teams as a problem.
I agree with that.
That is your special teams coordinator.
Yeah, they should have gotten rid of both Applebaum and Danny Crossman.
Do better.
But I also got a question. Do you think there was any special teams coaches out there to pick from? Because maybe McDaniel said there's no, huge upgrade over Danny Crossman, so I'll keep Crossman.
You ready for this? I'd rather Pete's Takes be the special teams coordinator than Danny Crossman. Facts.
Oh no, because the first day him as a special teams coordinator. Breaking news: Tua has a suspicious knee injury.
Nope, I said special teams. I didn't say nothing else. I said special teams, sir.
I know.
And my mama would be a better special teams coordinator than Danny Crossman. Yep, I said it. Don't care about it. Facts. Hot take.
Yeah, and until he proves me wrong, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. It was a mistake, but
Danny Crossman still having a job is pretty much unacceptable for me.
It's as bad as the Green Bay Packers keep in Joe Woods.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, if the Dolphins give up a touchdown in the first week or two on special teams, or they allow all of a sudden all these return kicks are being returned to the 35-yard plus, 40-yard plus, or even into the Crossman better get fired real freaking quickly, and they better
be on a very short leash. That better be the case.
I don't think Danny Crossman should get a full year. If you are screwing up come week 1, week 2, you got to go. Got to go. I don't know what you're going to do to replace him, but Crossman ain't the answer. And I personally think he should have been replaced way before now. But since he's here, and since we got to live with him, you better keep that man on a short leash, because if he screws up and we start allowing short fields for other teams' offenses because our special teams is giving up all these return yards, I'm gonna tell you right now, don't dare come on this show and talk about how Tua's not winning us games. Don't dare come and talk to us about, oh my God, the defense. If a defense is only getting 65 yards to play with, come on, guys, let's be fair. All they need is 35 to get in for the most part, just to get into field goal range. So of course they're going to take chances in a game.
I mean, I think we can still win a Super Bowl even with Crossman, but I do agree that Crossman is not good, and he could cost us a few games.
If they look a hell of a lot better than they looked in the first 2 preseason games and all of last year, which if the first 2 preseason games are any indicator of what special teams will look like this year,
I sure hope they're just figuring stuff out on special teams right now. I sure hope, because that's what a lot of preseason is to get young guys on special teams in Series 6.
If I'm McDaniel and Danny Crossman ends up shitting the bed in the first couple of weeks, I'm going to Fangio and saying, whoever you want to bring into special teams, I am all on board. Who do you think should be special teams coordinator? And if you don't think that Vic Fangio has somebody in his Rolodex, doesn't have somebody in his Rolodex that can walk in off the street and be a better special teams coordinator than Danny Crossman, then think again, because I know he knows enough people around the NFL and through the NFL that might be, not coaches right now that could come in and be a better special teams coordinator than Danny Crossman.
Well, not just Vic Fangio, but Mike McDaniel. They both know a lot of people. They know that people love both of them. They love their minds. They would love to coach for this team. So I don't know why either one of them wouldn't just easily find a special teams coordinator over Crossman. But, maybe he's on a short leash and we'll see what happens. But, but I'm still excited for the season and I'm pumped.
Me too. And again, my hopium is filled. Like I
told you to keep that hopium after Teron Armstead got carted off. I'm just saying.
I was depleted that Thursday, but I re-upped. Man. Okay. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Dolphins are gonna be.
All right, I gotta go. Great show. Thank you for having me on.
Love you, brother. Be good, man. I think that the Dolphins are gonna be a really, really good football team. I think they have the roster to win 12 or 13 games today. But things have to go perfect in order for that to happen. If you want to allow yourself a little bit of wiggle room in some, injuries, snafus, whatever to happen, you need to create more depth at certain positions. That's what I'm looking for. These last 7 or 8 guys that are fighting for a spot on Saturday night, that's great. But understand there's probably really only 5 or 6 spots that are up for grabs, because the other 2 guys that make the 53 at the end probably are going to get replaced the moment somebody becomes available off this 90 to 53 cut day. So just put that out there. The next week will be a lot of fun around the NFL. My hope is that Wilkins gets my hope is that Wilkins gets restructured between now and Friday, or now and Saturday, and that's done. And I would love for that to happen. And my hope is also, and I said this earlier, I'm just repeating it, that Cedric Wilson balls out on Saturday night. I 100% would love to see him ball out on Saturday night. And I definitely want to see the Dolphins special teams play very well on Saturday night. Those are the 3 things I really need to see. Cedric Wilson ball out. Special teams needs to play well. And how do some of these guys on the bubble look? And as long as they as the team plays with some flair and some emotion, that's all I really care about. That's all I care about. It should be good. All right, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. It was a lot of fun today. I enjoyed it. I got a special surprise for you here in a second, so stay tuned. Here, I'm just writing this text. Okay. Stay tuned. Just a minute. Don't go anywhere just yet. I got a special surprise for y'all. Hopefully they'll be in here in a second. All right. So tomorrow is Wildin' Out Wednesday. Thursday is going to be an awesome day. I'm going to have Throwback Thursday on. As you know, Cameron 954 of East 32 will be on with me. I am also going to have on for 30 minutes Mike Ovila of Dolphins Talk, DolphinsTalk.com is also going to come on and hang out with us, and that's going to be good on Thursday. And then Friday I'll have Jason Sarney on, and we'll hang out for Spread Kindness Friday. And that should be good too. So it should be good. Let's see here. Rome says Finn's made an offer to D. Coots. Huh? Who's that? D. Coots? Am I missing something? Who's D. Coots? Who's D. Coots 777? I'm looking on Twitter. I don't Colts. Finn's made an offer to the Colts. I don't see anything of the sort. Where are you getting your sources from? Huh? Where are you getting your sauces from? I'm looking right now. I don't see where your sauces are from, man. Nothing on social media. So if it's not on social media, it's not true. QAM said that the Dolphins made an offer to the Colts for Jonathan Taylor. Who said this on WQAM? Who said this, Rome 777? I need to know. I have a very difficult time believing it. I don't want to say that person is a liar. I'm not saying you in particular, 777. I'm just saying if that's true, who on QAM is saying that? And I don't want to say that that person is a liar. That's what I'm trying to say. I just don't see it. From Pete. He said from Pete. That's funny. Christian Wilkins in a first-round pick for Taylor. No way that happens. I'd be very surprised if that happened. I would actually be flabbergasted if that happened. And it's not going to. So on D chat. WQAM radio on D chat. I don't know. It will come out soon. Just wait. All right. Well, we will wait. We'll see what happens. I want to let my kids come in here and say hello. They want to say hello to you guys. They want to say hello. So I'm going to let them come in. Say hello. While we're waiting, I'll let this guy come on and say hello. Honored to meet your family, Stephen. Yes. Crypto, what do you want, Crypto?
What are you doing, Steven? I'm disappointed in you.
What are you disappointed in me for? What did I do?
Because on your last conversation, you was talking about a topic that I spent nearly 13 hours yesterday on my first show talking about that you never came by to discuss it.
What show are you referring to, Crypto?
The show I had yesterday, the marathon show I had. It was enough time in that show for everybody to stop by because it was long enough.
My kids are
and
outside.
You didn't come by, Stephen D, to jump in on the discussion. You was ranting and raving about.
I mean, I'm just saying, I don't have anything to say on the matter. I believe one of your co-hosts owes me a phone call, though. I'll say that much.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll leave it at that because it was an interesting discussion because everybody leaves out that third phase of the game, none other than special teams. Champions were built on special teams and dynasties were born on special teams. Stephen D, did you know that?
I think special teams is a very important part of a team's success, and if they can't do it, it's gonna be interesting.
Reason why I say dynasties were born on special teams. Me know Tom Brady was real good, but let's face it, if it wasn't for the right leg and the right foot of Adam Vinatieri, that dynasty would have never got off the ground.
I ain't got time to be arguing with you, Crypto. My kids can't come in. Get out of here. I love you, brother. Be good, man.
I love you too, man. Don't be a stranger, man. Stop by, man. When we,
if I was told of said show, maybe I would have stopped by, but I was never told of said show.
He wasn't okay. I'll give you a pass this time. I'm gonna make sure it's even long. I'm gonna make sure it's even long enough so you can stop by.
I'm not saying I feel some type of way about that, but I'm not giving you hints on something here.
Listen, if you was able to sit down at a baseball game with me and Jim Harbaugh, then you can sit by for 12 hours and talk about it.
Isn't he getting suspended in part because of that trip?
No. When did this happen?
He's being suspended for the first 4 games for recruiting violations.
That wasn't a recruiting trip he was on, was it? His team was there.
I'm just saying, was he though? But was he?
No, Stephen, his whole team was there. He could just say he was taking his team out for a business trip.
I'm just saying.
Oh, they're saying he was breaking the rules by recruiting people outside of Michigan, and what was the deal?
I mean, he might have been recruiting at that trip. I have heard that is part of it.
He was in Washington, D.C.
He might have been actively recruiting on that trip.
I don't think they'll be able to get him with that, though.
I'm just saying.
Didn't his manager say that they was
Crypto that Jim Harbaugh is getting in trouble because of you and I?
No, no way. I'm not going to stretch it that way. Well, I better get a cut, damn it. If he gonna say I'm to blame.
This Crypto fella and this Steven fella, I swear. All right,
yeah,
man,
he gonna blame us for it. I got you.
I love you, brother. Be good, man.
All right, man. Have a good one, man.
All right. I'm tired of you guys. Hot Take Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wildin' Out Wednesday. Come hang out with us. It's going to be fun. I'll let you beat my kids another time. They're outside playing with a friend. What can I do? They're playing like kids. Hope you guys are good. Tomorrow should be a great show. Thursday, Michael Vila will come on for 30 minutes. Cameron 954, Throwback Thursday. And then Friday, Spread Kindness Friday with my boy Jason Sarney of Dolphins Weekly. We'll see y'all tomorrow right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show. You know what I'm actually going to do? I'm gonna leave out with Solo D's new song. That way you guys can hear it. Guys, donate to the channel. Help the channel grow. Only $2 in donations today. The donations help. They allow me to do the show on a regular basis for you. So if you're able to, even if it's $1, it goes such a long way into helping the channel grow. You guys can donate on YouTube. You can donate on Cash App or PayPal. The link is in the description below. It helps. All right. So please support your YouTubers that are doing this on a regular basis. A lot of work and time and energy and money goes into this. So please help if you're able to. If you can't, share the link. Let people know that we're here. Can't grow without you. Okay. All right. So I'm going to play the new song from Solo D right now. That way, I'm not going to play two at a time. I'm going to play the new song by Solo D. All right. Let's go. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.
2, 3.
Hit the like button. Donate.
Solo D. DWA, we gonna do it like this. Look, get back to the season, yeah, it's time for 2, 3. Miami sportsman on fire, kicking ass like Bruce Lee. Tua hit the weight room and got his tribe on his sleeve. Got some goals on his list that he gotta achieve. Matt D with the schemes, he supplying the dream. Ronald Vic for defense, we bout to hunt for the ring. Buffet boys hit squad, we ain't thinking about Rodgers. Only Hall of Famer we acknowledge this year's Thomas.
What an unreal play by Zach Thomas.
Legendary at the crib, what we do is historic. Ain't won a ring in 50 years, but not one season been born. We been steady building up, they been sleeping and snoring. We been repping for that aqua, plus that green and the orange. 305 South Florida, we the reason it's storming. Since we picked up Tyreek, why should our speed been important? Waddle patch, they gon' dance like a penguin when scoring. Running backs, run it back, O-line don't want no sacks. They reload in beast mode to protect the quarterback. CBS recorded that, in the world syndicated. Put the league on notice, now they all intimidated. Took some L's from injuries, but now them boys rejuvenated. When they lining up against you, running through you, you gon' hate it. All the fans gon' debate it. Compare and contrast, the same conversation on a different podcast. I'm a Dolphin for life. 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 Who that?
So low, so low, so low, deep. So low, so low, so low, deep. DWA, that's Dolphins with attitude. MSM, that's Miami Sports Music. Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, yeah.